Welcome back to Always Almost There, a Goose podcast by Storm Sound and Osiris Media. I'm Neal.
I'm back to school, Kev.
And I'm Ryan. The three of us are here today for our Goose Fall 2025 recap. We will be talking all about everything that happened over just around 6 weeks from the University of Iowa on August 28th to the Rise Festival just outside of Vegas on October 5th. Now, wait a minute, Always Almost There. You guys must be saying right now, August isn't part of the fall. And we would like to take a moment to shout out our good friend, B. Dunn, the arbiter of all things proper. He keeps us on our toes here and makes sure that we are always in line. Yes, that is correct. August 28th, and the first large chunk of this tour did not take place in the season of fall. However, when this was announced, when this tour was announced originally, fall tour, quote unquote, began with this Iowa show. And so that is what we are choosing to call it. And that is where we are starting today.
It was the fall semester for the Hawkeyes.
There you go.
There you go. It's true.
Speaking of the Hawkeyes, is that the Iowa University of Iowa sports team?
Yeah.
Kev?
Go Sports.
Go Sports. Yeah, go Blue Jays. I care a lot about baseball.
The Blue Jays are professional baseball. This is a college.
No, this is
different
a
things.
college in Iowa. Yeah. Okay, well, Goose played one set as part of the University of Iowa's fall welcome concert. Pretty kick-ass fall welcome concert, especially when you get a Creatures like this. But the set goes: Pancakes, All I Need, Blood Buzz, Ohio, Hot Love and the Lazy Poet, Royal, Hot Tea, Creatures, Slow Ready, Arcadia, with a Shama encore. And let me tell you the only thing that I care about in this set, and that's the Creatures. And holy, this is like the equivalent to, I don't know, a really insane peak in a jam. I couldn't come up with anything better than that there. This Creatures is amazing. They jam it out before the last chorus. And I mean, this is just one of those things where they lock in on one theme. They are so dialed together. And they're just all coalescing around Rick, who's just leading them through this sustained energy. And this is the kind of thing that, as we get through this tour, you don't see as much, where they're all clicking on the same wavelength improvisationally, and the energy is there, and the musicianship is there, and you just feel this feeling of like, holy shit. And I remember the first time I heard this, I was expecting nothing out of this set. I was like, this is like a one set festival thing. Like, who knows what they're going to do? And no, we get a 20-minute Creatures. So really happy that they played it here. And I've gone back to listen to this a lot.
You know what's cool about this Creatures, man, is that it doesn't sound like any of the other Creatures that come after this for the rest of the tour. It's a zero Goons Creatures, I think.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure of that.
No Goons.
Like, not even for a moment there isn't any Goons in this thing. And the jam, you're right, is cool. And I think maybe it is just because it's different than the rest of the Creatures that we heard. Because they do get pretty predictable. They're sick later on this tour, but they are predictable. They're all pretty much the same. So there's no octave down in this thing. There's no ARP in this thing. It's just cool jamming. And the thing that I think sticks out the most in here is what Peter does with the full marimba, not the piano marimba thing that we're used to, but full-on marimba patch in this thing that gets really bouncy and cool, and does a few things with it that make it sound very psychedelic. And I think it fits really cool in this song. And then the other thing that I think is notable is I think non-Goonsy Creatures tend to go a specific way, and this one doesn't go that way. So it's really just generally unique. And I think that is the standout thing in this show. There really isn't much else to write home about. You get a smattering of hits that I think people were looking for. But the other thing I do want to say is there is a typically awesome brief All I Need that turns into Blood Buzz, Ohio with an incredible segue.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for kind of random pieces of gold to find in this set, because they're tough to find in these one set shows, they really are. Those are the two things that I think stick out for me.
Blood Buzz Show, Iowa.
Yeah.
Anything, Kev?
Yeah, I got to ask you guys, where do you guys have the Iowa Creatures on your playlist? Like, approximately.
It is not on my playlist.
It's not on there at all.
Okay, that's That's crazy to me. That's not on your playlist?
Yet.
Seriously?
I
Okay,
don't know.
yeah.
Maybe it
Well,
should
it
be.
should be. It 100% should be. I have it at 32.
I figure if you're at least filling out a 64, you definitely have to. It's got to be on there.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have to be honest, as we do this particular tour, I have not dove into doing my Jam of the Year rankings.
Yep.
It's been hard after this tour. And I think now is a good time to say why before we kind of segue into this next show. The jams are kind of few and far between in this tour. And there aren't that many shows on this tour. So it's been hard for me to slot it against kind of the arc of what's gone on for the year because we started so incredibly strong and then summer had a smattering of really good jams and then the fall happened and it's really hard to, well, to borrow the analogy from what I was just saying before, kind of mine the gold out of it. And then once you get it, you really have to stack it up against these other two tours that I think for me stand out a lot brighter in my memory than this one. And maybe it's just because this one's the most recent, I don't really know.
Do you think that there's a tendency, like early on in tour, to be like, well, I'm not going to give as much credence to that jam because I think there's going to be hotter stuff coming, and then maybe you just don't go back and revisit it?
Yeah, I don't know. I think my thing nowadays is there was a while where I was kind of trying to keep up my playlist as the tour went on, but then like when it starts doing that, it all kind of starts to sound the same, and then you're really just not sure what you're doing. And like the last thing I want to do is just throw out a playlist out there just because I feel like it's my obligation to throw a playlist out there. I feel like I need to get some distance from a tour. And then, there are some tours where I'm really excited about the tour. So when I think about the 8-show run at the start of the year, I was excited to rank those jams right away. And I actually had a hard time because it was just like, this is all so good. I didn't really know what to put where. I have kind of the opposite problem with this tour, which is I'm struggling to find the really good jams in this thing. I don't think
Yeah.
many of them stack up to the rest of what has happened in 2025.
Well, and that's also the difficult part of this year where there's not as many headline Goose shows, and they're not with the ones that they have, they're not producing the same number of quote unquote bracket jams that we're
Yeah.
kind of used to. And so filling in a 64, like there are things on my list this year that I would not usually think would make the cut for it. And that's just, something like the Grand Rapids 1 in 1 out. At the time, I was like, that's not going to be on my playlist by year's end. And so I didn't put it on, but it's on my playlist now. Okay. Well, see,
And then
also,
Ryan, real quick, just for context, I think
yeah,
you brought up a great point before we started actually recording the episode in comparison of the number of shows played this year versus last year. Are you
yeah,
able to talk
yes.
about that for a
So
sec?
I believe it's 63 Goose shows this year, which includes the TV appearance, that includes the shed, like that includes everything. Like there were 63 Goose shows this year. And only I believe 41 or 42 of them were headlining 2-set Goose shows. And so the last year that we had that number of shows was 2021. And I mean, 2021 was crazy. But I also think this year, and I guess, we're one show in, but now we're back to the kind of big picture context. This is kind of what happens album cycle Goose. We saw this in 2022 where the year started off so strong. Summer tour was good, but you saw them kind of dipping a little bit, and then fall tour was like they're in full album promo mode. They don't feel as comfortable, jamming to the same degree, right? And then obviously beginning of the year, they tend to recover. But I think in 2022 you had a much more extensive winter and spring kind of schedule, and so there was a lot more opportunity to kind of front load the year with all these huge amazing explorations, whereas this year February was 8 shows, then we had 3 shows in Gonzo, and then that was it before summer tour. So I think this year, just the way it was structured, June was the only time they had a chance to, and February and June were the only times where they had an opportunity to really build momentum. This fall tour is made up of a lot of like 2 nights and then 3 nights off. It starts out, we have Iowa, then they played the Gorge, and then there's 2 weeks, and then Burlington, 2 days off, Madison, 2 days off, Michigan, Chicago, 2 days off, and then they kind of get into a regular rhythm, broken up by, and then the festival at the end. But the point being is that this is a weird year in terms of scheduling, and coupled with the pressure of 2 albums that they're touring right now, which is also we're going to talk about how some of the songs weirdly aren't in rotation. But
Right.
it's just it's a lot of factors, and there's a lot on the band right now, and so yeah, I am disappointed as a fan of the jams in this tour largely.
That's an excellent segue into this next show, which I think is largely void of jams because it is a gigantic opportunity for the band.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Kev.
it's a little baby of a show where Goose gets to open up for Dave Matthews, right? Like
Big deal.
Rick has an affinity for Dave, has been a fan probably, if I remember correctly, since he was listening to his sister play Dave Matthews songs. He became a fan at that point. But the Gorge, right? The Gorge Amphitheater, Quincy, Washington. Should we go there?
We should.
Let's go there.
Yeah, man. Let's open the show with Drive into Thatch, a Western sun on the West Coast. Hunger Site, Give It Time. Fiery Judd Stone into Hot Tea. And of course, a very horny Arcadia with Rashawn Ross and Jeff Coffin from Dave Matthews Band.
Not much to write home about at this show. They were clearly showcasing the tunes at this one, which Goose is capable of doing. I've been saying it on this podcast for years now, which is Goose, there are people out there in the world that would pay good money to just show up and see Goose play songs, no jams. And it's true, and they're aware of that. And they were very much showcasing that part of themselves at this show. And boy, did they pick a really excellent grouping of songs. I mean, it is kind of nuts, like the quality of festival set that they could put out there compared to, let's say, 3 years ago. It is shockingly different. There is not much for me to say about this other than I really dig the Arcadia with the horns. The arrangement was already there. I think it was all written for the horns at
MSG.
MSG.
Yeah.
So, I mean, not too hard for these guys. They're pros. I mean, I've been seeing Jeff Coffin play since he was like the saxophone player for
Flecktones.
Bela Fleck and the Flecktones.
Yeah,
And,
man.
like,
Back in the day.
I've never seen him with the Dave Matthews Band. I'm not particularly a Dave Matthews Band guy.
You don't say.
But there are a lot of folks who are.
Well, I'll paint some context for you real quick. He
Yeah.
filled it when Leroy got hurt in the ATV accident. Before
Yes,
he
of
ended up
course.
passing away, Jeff Coffin ended up filling in for him on that tour. I think it was 2008. Ended up filling in for him for the rest of that tour. And that's kind of how he was elevated into that role.
Yeah.
Good to see.
My only thing on this show is that they only play one song from Shane Your Dragon, which is surprising. This is their first kind of festival-y show, I guess. Like Iowa was still, it was a billed as just Goose. It was a free show at a university, but it's still Goose. This is, them opening for Dave Matthews Band. There's a lot of people there who they're trying to convert, and I think they did. But it's just interesting that they only played Jed Stone off of the new album. No Royal, no Madalena, no Rockdale, nothing like that. We don't get a Factory Fiction on this tour as well. Like it's weird the way that the Chain Your Dragon songs fell into rotation. But I mean, this is still it's a great 60 minutes.
Yeah, I want to underscore how weird it is, how infrequently we've heard Madalena.
Yeah,
that one is really getting me.
So they've played it a few times.
2 times.
Yeah, no.
Tonight we will talk about 2 versions.
So, yes, but they have only played it at one quote unquote proper Goose show so far.
Yeah, right. Crazy. So that's actually a good time to jump into this next show.
Yes,
I think
2 weeks later.
2 weeks later, they played it at this show. Foreign Goose, Canadian Goose. Only the second time this has been done. People would have rejoiced about this, but it's in the farthest reach of Canada. It's roughly a 20-hour journey.
By the way, this is not the farthest. This is not the farthest reach of Canada.
From you, it is.
Sorry, do you know how big Canada is? Pretty sure
just
none
made
of
a big
it's
deal
further.
about how far away it was, and that's
it's
why
it's one Canada, Ryan. What could it be? 4 Iowas?
Yeah, seriously. All right. So really quick, Harvest Music Festival. We didn't get these boards for a really long time. So this is September 12th, 2025. I don't think we heard it until 2, maybe 3 weeks later.
There
Is
was
that
an
true?
audience tape, but yeah,
Oh,
it was
there,
a few
yeah, I
weeks.
never listed the odd. But in any case, set one, only set. We get Hot Tea, Give It Time, All I Need, Don't Do It in the set. Hot Love and the Lazy Poet, Madalena, Animal in Your Eyes, Hunger Sight, Redbird, into Redbird, and then a Madhavan. And the rumors were that this show had a really sick Redbird, so that was the first thing that I went and listened to when I heard the show or had the boards for the show. And I actually was struck by how not excited I was about the Redbird, believe it or not. And so I kind of poked around the rest of the show and then ended up listening to the whole thing, which is kind of tough because listen, man, the one thing I have to say about this particular tour is I don't know how many hot teas I can listen to that
Feels
sound
like
like this hot tea.
2021.
My goodness. It's like straight back to 2021. It's like hot tea every other show. It's bananas.
They actually
But in
played
any
it.
case,
They did play it 3 shows in a row here.
yeah, 0 show gaps.
4 shows in a row because it was Park City, Iowa, Gorge, Fredericton, all got
Yeah.
hot teas.
A lot of hot tea. A lot of hot straight out of 2021. If you were around in June, July 2021, you got a
God.
lot of hot teas. This
So
is like
many.
the same vibe. Yeah, Kev knows. Kev was there for back-to-back hot teas in
There's well, and I don't want to show my age too much, but 2019 were a lot of hot teas as well. So
Yeah.
Yes. A lot of hot teas.
so
in
maybe
any case,
they're just trying to bring that that nostalgia to everybody, and I really appreciate that.
same number of shows, similar number of shows. So you do get in the set a Madalena, which is exciting. We all thought, okay, this thing's going to be in regular rotation because Madalena is a great song. I
It's a
want to be
great
very
song.
clear about this. We're complaining about hearing like the same songs over and over, or like these jukebox kind of shows.
We didn't hear enough.
And I can deal with a jukebox show that has Madalena in it because it is an incredible, incredible song. But the standout jam in this show for me is the In Your Eyes. They go very type 2 very quickly in this thing, and it gets very big. You get kind of drip drums in this thing. I don't know, to me it's a really neat jam. I don't really see it as a bracket jam, but this is the thing that I kind of I see as a standout in this one. And then yeah, you just the other, I guess you get the saucy Hunger Sight, which is a little bit different, I guess. But that's it. That's
bit.
all that really stands out.
Yeah, In Your Eyes is a pretty sneaky good jam vehicle. But I think
Yeah.
I'm ready to, Kev, I don't know if you have anything to add here, but I'm ready to move on to our first proper Goose show of this tour.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Waterfront Park, Burlington, Vermont, September 14th. Also a hometown show for Cotter, his first one since joining the band. Neal and I were both at this show. And this is the kind of thing that I feel like Goose does all the time, where there's a show, maybe the first show of the tour, maybe a couple shows in, where it's like they do some shit and you're like, hell yeah, this tour is going to rule. And then they don't do that shit again. And that's kind of what happens in this first set. You get, first of all, you get double Cotter in this set. You open up with My Mind Has Been Consumed by Media into A Western Sun, Rockdale, Atlas Dogs, Rockdale. Then Atlas featuring Cat Wright on vocals, Bob Wagner on guitar, and Josh Weinstein on bass. Lots of fun. Friends of Cotter's from Burlington. Draconian Meter Maid with no jam into Flowdown to take us into set break. So, kind of some odd set listing, but Western Sun, Rockdale, Atlas Dogs is one of the best stretches of music that they played on this entire tour. I think. Flow, jamming. This Rockdale is 14 minutes and is absolutely mind-blowing what they get done in this time. It gets dark fast, and there's just what I talked about with the Iowa Creatures, where they're all just on the same wavelength. They're all contributing to these ideas. It feels so fresh, and you don't get that kind of thing a lot after this, right? And it's just, to me, you get this moment where I remember, Neal, I think, at the show where I was like, what? Like, what's going on right now? Like this, we're like early first set. Like what, what's happening here? And then I will say, They got into this kind of like Fiddler's Madavani, like Cotter hit the double time. Peter was doing this like kind of spacey synth thing that reminded me of the Fiddler's Madavan. And then Rick pulled them into Atlas Dogs, which is a thing. It's a thing that we've seen a lot this year, segueing into Atlas Dogs out of things. And then we get the Goons out of the Atlas Dogs. This is also one of the best examples of Goons on this tour.
Surprise
Because
Goose.
yeah, surprise Goons. Also, it's not in Creatures. It's not in Empress. It's not where you'd expect. Not in Tumble. But you get the Goons with no arpeggiator and no backing track. So they're playing to a click, obviously, but it's just them doing it. Peter rocking the Rhodes, a little bit of ring mod in there, Neal's favorite effect. And this is just fantastic. And again, bonus points for it being out of Atlas Dogs, of all things. And we don't need to talk about the Rockdale reentry.
No, we don't. We certainly don't. Before I kind of work my way backwards, I do want to talk about the ring mod bit, which is, I think, what actually sparks them to do the Goonsy thing. So for those who are listening and have never heard us talk about the Goons before, the Goons is the very electronic dance music kind of vibe. Oh, yeah, welcome. Welcome to the podcast. Because this is definitely your first time listening to us this year. But yeah, so I think
the
Peter's
Goons
kind
can
of
be
doing...
the Goons can be triggering. The Goons can be triggering for some people.
Really? I mean, the Goons makes me happy. Yeah. I will never complain about it, even if it does sound very similar from jam to jam.
Makes me bob my head.
Yeah, makes me do all kinds of crazy things. It does. But so the Peter kind of starts messing around with the ring mod, and it's making these kind of weird bleeps and bloops. And I think that inspires the rest of the band to kind of go full Goons there, because it's like, all right, he's already going this weird. Like, they don't normally go this hard in the first set. Like, something inspired them to do this. And I feel like that's the moment where it kind of all goes down. But I want to backtrack and kind of talk about this whole set here, because there's a lot going on in this set. Like Ryan said, the Western Sun is really good. And when they started playing it, I was at the show, and we don't do vibes at the show kind of thing on this particular version of Always Almost There, but the sun is going down. They're playing a Western Sun, and I was like, yes, let's go. And it was one of the most gorgeous sunsets I think I've ever seen.
Yeah.
It is truly remarkable and relevant, because if you look at the cover art that's on Nugs and Bandcamp, it is truly beautiful. Although that's an augmented photo, but whatever. So they're playing a Western Sun. I'm like, this is going to be nuts. Although the Western Sun doesn't go to where I thought it was going to go to. It's very kind of classic rock Goose vibe, with Rick doing some like Jerry-esque phrasing, which I absolutely love when he does this, because it's just like a thing that he turns on, just like the SCO button, where
he's a Jerry
all
button.
of a sudden his fingers turn into SCO's fingers. In this particular Western Sun, his fingers turned into Jerry's, and he was just phrasing like Jerry, and it sounded so incredibly good, and it fit the moment so well. And there's something very Grateful Dead about the just being in Vermont to me. Everything about it, I don't know. And then Cotter's drumming on this really, really good, and then the segue into Rockdale is excellent. And then they just get into this territory of just, it gets cinematic. It's almost like you're running from something. There's danger, and you're almost clear, and then like you're in danger again, and then like you're almost clear, and you're in danger again, and then you never get free. And that's the coolest part about this jam, is they're building tension, building tension, building tension, and there's no release. It's just, and then you're left. They leave the song, they go into Atlas Dogs, and you're waiting for the thing, like you're like waiting for the big peak, the big release. Nothing.
Yeah.
And then you get Atlas Dogs with this crazy, crazy jam. So the energy for that is nuts. Like when you listen to this consecutively, and it's important that you think about this Atlas Dogs jam in the context of this Rockdale jam, because you've entered it with all of this like anxiety and building up energy that you're ready to let loose, and then the Goons drops in Atlas Dogs, and all hell breaks loose.
Yeah,
it's really it's an amazing piece of building a scene with music, and that is one of the reasons I love this band.
And then just for clarification, like for Jotty purposes, are you able to submit like a segment of
jeez, oh dear,
of two songs that are
Kevin.
linked together as
that's called a segment, and no, Sweet Kevin, you are not able to do so. Songs are eligible individually. Separate songs are like separate. If they play a song twice in one show, for example, they are 2 separate bracket entries. So no, you cannot submit Rockdale into Atlas Dogs as one entry. Yes, Neil,
Couple more things.
I'm afraid to let you talk now.
No, I'm not going to say anything else about this. If you
Okay,
want some
good.
more clarification on this, you can actually go back and listen to the very first episode of this podcast, where
You shouldn't. It
Goose
doesn't sound very good.
it does. Yeah, don't go listen to it. But if you're really curious, Jive explains very early on the idea of segments and why we include them in the Jam of the Year bracket and why we don't. Or rather, why we don't. Go check that out if you're really truly interested. But we don't include them. There's a lot of reasons. It's been debated heavily over the years. I think some people get really, really upset about it, but it's a choice we had to make. And sometimes you got to make hard choices, to make things consistent. But before we move on from this first set, I do want to say that the guest musicians out there was pretty cool. We don't get guest musicians with Goose often enough, I don't think. Although weirdly, twice on this tour we get guest musicians, and I don't know how great it worked out. But
got Mountain Troy and Dave Matthews, man.
Well, no, that was different. Those were like they sat in with them more than the other way around.
That's fair.
I don't know. Well, Ryan, you obviously have thoughts on this. Like, do you have a counter to what I'm about to say, or what
I mean,
I've
no,
said?
I think I don't think that it's like a we don't get enough sit-ins situation. I don't believe that at all.
Ryan's like, we're getting too many sit-ins.
No. But I think these sit-ins were a lot of fun. But I think coming out of the Western Sun Rockdale Atlas Dogs Rockdale, like even though the Rockdale reentry wasn't the greatest thing in the world, they were like the momentum was there. Like they were building the momentum already. And even if you do meter maid flow down, like whatever, but it felt as though like there's momentum that they can capitalize on here. And the sit-ins, lots of fun. Like the bass solo trading that happened was amazing. All of them were looking like they were having a great time. But from a Goose standpoint, you lose the momentum that you've just built over the past 30 minutes.
All right, question for you then.
Yeah.
Would you rather this be in the first set or the second set?
Oh, first set, 100%.
Okay, then. I mean, what are we talking about? Like, this is when you do it. That's the whole point. Like, this is when you have guest musicians. I thought it was really cool
I agree.
that they brought some people out. And I think it just challenges them a little bit. They did a little bit of a different arrangement, at least vocally, with Atlas, right? And then you get the guy with like the slide guitar. And that, I think, just adds an element of it being a little bit different. And I don't mind it as long as it's in the first set and it doesn't interrupt the flow of the second set. But you're right. I think it did kind of let the air out of the tires a little bit. I'm not going to disagree with you there. I'm just saying I think it would be cool if they did a little bit more collaboration. I don't know. I just enjoy it.
That's fair.
Then also, I'm slightly ignorant here. Are you guys able to like put the guest musicians in context? Are they just they're local Burlington musicians that Cotter has previously played with?
Yes. I don't know about how often he's played with them, but it's just like I think people Cotter knows well and was like, these people would be sweet to play with while we're in Burlington. It was great.
Yeah.
Someone
judging by go ahead.
I was gonna say someone like Nico Suave has already sat in with Goose. And so like give, some other Burlington homies the opportunity to get up there with them at the hometown show.
And it's I think it's a very incestuous scene. Like everybody's in a band with everybody else kind of thing.
I would have said it's a very collaborative scene.
Yeah. Intertwined.
Yeah,
intertwined.
There's so many better words.
Overlapping.
So many better words you could have used than incestuous.
No, I really like that one. Just so I could get the rise out of you, actually.
Okay.
But no, I think that's pretty neat. And then somewhat related, jam band news related, I did run into Brownie's son, who is a drummer in Burlington. He was working there at the festival. He was kind of like hanging out around. So that was neat. Shall we talk about the next show?
No, we have to talk about the second set from this show, Neal. There's another set here. I know we've done only single sets so far, so it's confusing. But no, this is a 2-set show. Second set, we get Arrow, Travelers, Thatch, This Old Sea, Thatch with a Tumble Shamma Tumble encore. Yeah, this is a 3-sandwich show. There are 3 sandwiches in this show. Crazy. Arrow comes out, does the Arrow thing, nice little triumphant 19 minutes or so. And then, Travelers Into Thatch, the first standalone Travelers since 2023. Exciting stuff for those of us who have seen Autumn Crossing a lot and don't want it in the middle of our second set. Shout out to the guy right in front of Neal and I who was devastated as we started celebrating when they dropped into Thatch. He really wanted the Elmeg.
Yeah.
As I believe friend of the pod Rob Zeta was the first person to point this out in Philly, but they play Travelers into Thatch here and then Thatch into Elmeg at the last headline show of the tour. So a nice little Autumn Crossing bookend on this one. But I'm all for Travelers in this slot on its own. I think that this is a fantastic, back in 2021, 2022, you could drop this mid set too. It was a great kind of cool down / keep the momentum up because you build into this big crescendo by the end. And then going into Thatch out of the kind of spacey transitional was like shot in the arm. It's like, hell yeah.
It's cool.
And then, nothing crazy happens musically in this set. Just really high energy Thatch. This old C in the middle, another great cool down. And then you get the Goose in the encore with a nice little Shama. Solid.
That's the weird thing about this show. And this set, I remember walking away from the show being like, this set was great. And then I go back and listen to it, and there's nothing that truly stands out in this set. It's just very good, beginning to end. And, sometimes it's just about the performance. Like I was saying before, you go there, you see a high energy show, you're happy, you leave. There's nothing, I don't know, super substantive to dig into after the fact. But I think that is kind of what happened here. I do like the arrow. There's kind of a sustained Goosemas 2024 Hunger Site vibe in this thing that feels like really good. There's like a touch of triumph and joy in this thing. And that was pretty neat. And of course, Thatch, second set, is always going to be good. And the Travelers, yes, Travelers is always good in my opinion on its own. And I'm kind of bouncing around the set because there's really nothing to truly kind of pump up. What I do love though, actually, some of the best improv of this show, I think, happens, of course, in the Rockdale and then in the Atlas Dogs, and then actually in the second half of the Tumble Sandwich.
Yeah.
It's really, really good coming out of the Shama. I mean, really good. And it's some of the best Goonsy stuff they've done all year, in my opinion. It's just these few moments of Tumble. So that's worth checking out. Don't just pass over this because it's Tumble Shamba Tumble. That's not the thing to do here. You should go check it all out. It's worth it.
You can pass over the first two pieces of that and just listen to the second half.
Yeah, you could just do that. Yep, that's true.
Just out of curiosity, I'm looking at the sound check here.
Yes.
Did you guys catch that?
Neal did not, because he's lame. But I did. It was pretty cool. Shorter than the one that we got, in terms of jamming, at least, than the one that we got at All Good in June. But I do appreciate the fact that when Goose has a quote unquote open sound check like this, they don't play songs that they're going to play later in the show.
Ryan, they did play a song they were going to play later in the show.
No, sorry. Atlas. By the way, the Atlas sound check was after the security had kicked us all out of the concert area. So you could still hear it, but we weren't active spectators anymore. So we got a little bit of a jam, which was nice, just kind of an upbeat rockin' thing, nothing crazy. And then Iguana Song and Royal. If you were there, no, Mark Comito, that does not count for stats. He asked me. But it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun when they do that, and I do appreciate the fact that they don't play the songs that we're going to hear again later. Now we've had our fun with a 2-set show, so let's go back to another 1-set show.
How about that?
Should we get back to America's heartland?
Yeah.
Why not?
Yeah. So the land of cheese, the Dairyland, Wisconsin, Madison. For you Robert La Follette progressivism fans, the birthplace of progressivism. Not the Kohl Center, of course, but Wisconsin. But September 17th, 2025, we are at the Kohl Center for an opening gig.
Co-headlining
gig with Mount Joy, which everybody knows is a glorious peak in Japan. And we open the set, and if you're a sing-songy sort of Goose fan, like this set is for you, and I like this set. But we open with Animal. We get Royal. Your Direction. I love to dance to Your Direction. What a bop. Arcadia, Creatures, Slow Ready, and To Give It Time. A co-headlining show. Not an opening set, a co-headlining show.
Co-headlining. Goose just happened to play first. Yeah. I mean, get a little back alley grime goons in this Creatures. And I will say, like, the highlight of this set, honestly, and you can go watch it on Nugs. The highlight of this set is watching Getty use 2 light rigs at the same time. And that's what he does because he does the lighting program for Mountjoy, if anyone didn't know that. That's the highlight of this set.
If I had $1 million, you know what I'd do, Ryan?
2
Light
light rigs at the same time,
time.
man. Also to note, Kev, we had a collaborative encore after the Mountjoy set. Everybody from Goose, Cotter coming up there with a tiny little cocktail kit in the back corner of the stage. But we get 3 songs: Ocean Man, Astrovan, which is a Mountjoy song, and What's Up, with no Peter Positivity rap, which is not okay. And Matt Quinn, as he does when he plays with Goose, did not sound very good.
It's not very positive of you, Ryan.
This is Mount Anger, Mount Gripe,
Mount Frustration.
Mount Disappointment.
It's clear that he didn't know the song. He was not comfortable at all.
Mount I wish this was a headlining Goose show.
Hey man, I watched this whole entire show. I actually enjoyed it front to back. They are a heck of a band, Mountjoy. I don't dislike it. It's obviously very different than if you're a jams guy. It's not going to be your
That's
thing.
me.
Ryan Storm, not his cup of tea.
Yeah,
but
I like
think
Mount.
if you like good music,
I'm going to come out right now and say I'm a Mountjoy fan.
Yeah, see, I don't mind it. I think it's good stuff. Although I will underscore what Ryan said about the quality of the What's Up in the encore.
That's fair.
That was super disappointing because that is one of my favorite things that Goose does. I think Rick does it so incredibly well. And we got one fewer verse of that because Matt Quinn sang a verse of it, and I wish it was only Rick. But talking about the Goose set here, we get we get a bunch of hits again. And I think as we go through this tour, I think normally when we do this recap podcast, we try to talk about the different jams, and we say like this jam was like this, and this jam had like a little bit of Peter doing this, and then Rick was doing this. And I can't do that for any version of Animal on this tour, so I'm not going to talk about this Animal at all. But and again, Your Direction doesn't do the kind of big jam in Your Direction that you get later in this tour. But the Creatures in this show is grimy. What did you call it, Ryan? The
back alley
grind goons.
Grime. I said grime.
Oh, grime. Okay, I thought you said grind.
Oh God, get your mind out of the back alley.
I don't know. It's good. It's really good, and I like it. And they do this particular version of Creatures a couple more times on this tour, and every time it absolutely slaps. It is ridiculously good, and it fits in so well on this set. And I like that they took a risk and didn't just play 7-minute songs all the way through.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right.
Come on, Royal.
So now I feel like I think the tour starts. Like that now this feels like the beginning of tour.
Really? Right here? Yeah, that's kind of the vibe I was getting when I was prepping for this, where I was just like, it doesn't truly begin until here because there's nothing really truly exciting to talk about other than what happened in Burlington.
Not that, but it's like it was also they were flying. They got on the bus in Madison. They got their PA and all their things back in Madison. This is the first headlining Goose show with all of their stuff, and this is the beginning of them getting into a more regular cadence of shows. It's still not any more than 2 or 3 at a time without a day off, but you're in a more regular schedule here.
Oh, on the topic of equipment, we didn't talk about this.
The roads.
Yes. Have we talked about this yet?
I mean, I mentioned it, but yes, in Iowa.
In Iowa. Okay. So that is a new thing on this thing.
Yeah, if you want to
usually when there's a new instrument to talk about, you usually talk about it a lot. So I just wanted to talk about it.
I did do that on the Iowa Day After show and several other Day After shows. Go check those out if you haven't.
True. You should. Okay. So, yes. So when we're 2 set headlining shows, we're back in sheds, which means that there are roughly 15 to 24 syllables in the name of every venue. This venue is no exception. September 19th, 2025, the Michigan Lottery Amphitheater at Freedom Hill, Sterling Heights, Michigan. That is this place. So set one, we get Elizabeth, a hot butter rum, and boy, am I sad that Jive Goose is not here to talk
Intergalactic.
about it. Oh my god, it's so good. I'm not even kidding. It's
No, it's
ridiculously good.
actually amazing.
It's actually amazing. Silver Rising, Mosquenada, California Magic, Turbulence in the Night Rays, and then you get a crazy sandwich of mist, salt, make the move salt. I mean, it's
That's a
absolutely bananas
shit
what's
ton of
going on in
songs,
this set.
man.
I love this set. This set is ridiculously good, and the crazy part is that it is anchored by butter rum.
Butter rum.
Like a sick butter rum. And actually, I'm gonna fluff the hell out of this butter rum in here because Jive isn't here to like make faces and stop me, and everything about it is just wonderful. But you get about 6 minutes of democratic jamming from this band. They were firing on all cylinders in this thing.
In this
And
rum.
in a rum, it's just nuts. And so Rick's just kind of doing this like repetitive phrase, and then Peter's kind of under there with the Rhodes, and Cotter is just ripping on the drums, and then Peter switches from the Rhodes, like doing this kind of phrase, to just hammering on the piano, and then it's this wall of sound.
Yeah.
And it's sick for another, I'd say, 3.5 minutes, and then it ends, and then it's back to butter rum again.
But it's great. Like this is the kind of jam in the first set that's perfect. Like this is the kind of thing that I wish they did more, because it's like, it's really amazing. It packs a punch. The energy is there. It's not inaccessible. Like if it's my first Goose show and I haven't heard a jam band before, this is not like they're playing the Westville Rockdale, right? Like it's not like weird and dissonant. This is just like upbeat and just like, whoa, like,
Yeah.
And they slip into it so easily. This is also most notably the first Elizabeth since Toronto in February. That is, if my lgoose.net will load, I believe 43 or 44 shows. But
Toronto.
that's the first one since February. Butter Rum showing up for the first time since Gonzo. So long gaps on both of these tunes. And we will see them both again later on in this tour. Elizabeth at a somewhat unofficial show. But it's interesting, the midpoint of this set, because in a vacuum, everything between Rum and Mist is kind of, standard, if you will. And especially seeing Silver Rising, Cali Magic, and Turbulence in the same first set gives me 2023 flashbacks. But yeah, I think it works because you're bookended with this Rum and this really creative Mist Salt, make the move Salt.
Yep.
And I think that this show is so interesting to me, because this is one of the best shows of the tour, in my opinion.
I agree.
And there's just there's a lot of different kinds of improvisation in this show. You get Goose, you get this crazy intergalactic, that's what I've been calling this Rum. You get that thing that they do for the psychedelic shit, the last 5 minutes of Big Modern. You get the crazy frenetic thing in Wisteria.
That's the second set. We'll get there, man.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying, like, but this show as a whole, and I'm not going into that too deep right now, but my point is, this show as a whole is so well-rounded, and it's another thing that it's like, it's a flash in the pan. Like this is a thing that we don't really see again until Philly.
Well, and you can talk about the depth. You've talked about the butter rum a lot, but like in context of like the development of that song from being like a kitschy one-off, like, a cruise song, if you will, to it being somewhat of a serious jam vehicle, I think
it becomes a kitschy thing again the next time they play it.
Yes, it
That's
does. Actually, the next time they play it is heartbreaking.
Yeah,
it's truly heartbreaking.
Like,
I think it's important to point that out here.
Yeah,
is but it like, I do also want to make a note, like, pour one out for Jive Goose.
It's the last time I'm going to stick up. It's last time I'm going to stick up for butter rum.
You should. That should be the last time, at least on this particular podcast. Pour one out for Jive Goose. We are fluffing a set that has butter rum and logins in it.
Oh boy.
This is long gap logins, by the way. This is 99 shows. Some might say 100.
100 shows. The next gap
And
before the next time they play make the move is a lot less than that.
I've got a lot of words about the next Make the Move, so get ready for
Oh,
that.
me too.
Oh man, it's so I just wish he was here. Damn it. It'd be so good. But in any case, I love the way the set is constructed. It is light on the jams, and that is okay. The segues are absolutely insane. The Miss Salt segue is bananas.
Yeah.
It's so good. The segues on this tour, actually, if there's one thing I'm going to say about this whole entire tour, is that there are remarkable segues, including one of the best segues I think they've ever done, happens on this tour.
Oh yeah.
So, and we'll get there.
Yeah.
But so that's the end of set one. Does anybody else have anything to say here before we go on?
Creative set listing. Just I want to just hammer that point home again about Miss Salt make the move Salt. And I don't remember if this was planned or not, but regardless, they did it. And so you get a lot of standard set listing in this set, but you also get something like this that doesn't happen. And so hell yeah.
Yeah. It's a thing that other jam bands tend to employ to great effect. Eggy is well known for kind of doing a bunch of segues in a set in a much crazier degree than this.
Ugh.
Obviously, Fish has been known to do it in a much crazier degree, but I like this kind of thing.
By the way,
keeps
side
me
note,
engaged.
if you want to see the most insane use of segues in an Eggy set, they played a festival in Alabama, I believe at the end of May or April or sometime in the spring, where the whole thing is like 5 songs, but there's like 17 songs on the set list because they're just weaving in and out of them for an hour.
Yeah.
But go check that out. Anyway, set 2.
Set 2. You get a big modern.
Big
Modern.
Big.
So, noted big modern hater myself. Like, I'm not a hater, but I generally don't love this song. No, you know what it is, man? It's the same problem that I have with Arrow, is that there are many, many versions that sound exactly the same.
Yeah,
And this particular one does sound the same. And I'm not saying it's not good, because it is good. It's always good. Big Modern rules every single time they play it.
Noted calm down Ryan proponent.
Noted calm down.
There are a lot of those.
Yeah. And but the last 6 minutes of this Big Modern are so ridiculously good. I'll get into those details later. Then you get Wisteria. They're just dumping the tank of jam vehicles at this point. Wisteria into Echo Over Rose, into Electric Avenue, into a missed ending, a very loud and clear "fuck you" to Jive Goose from the band, or from the band Goose, and then you get "Spin Me Round Like a Record" with an encore of Rockdale. All right, so this Big Modern. Okay, full stop. So you get the typical fiery Big Modern. Cotter's active on the drums. Rick is really shredding. And, I think what's different about this one, which makes it a little bit better than most of these versions, is Rick is really climbing the hill a little bit, then doing kind of a soft peak, and then doing it again, until you eventually get to a giant peak. And actually, since we're talking about Eggy, that's like one of my favorite things about the band Eggy, is they do this incredibly well. This exact thing where they're kind of doing these softer peaks until they get to a giant one. They do it really well in this one, and Rick does a great job.
This is the Goose
and then
podcast.
the last, what? This is an Eggy podcast. And then the last 6 minutes of this are, I mean, I don't even know how to describe it. There's like this ascending groove. It's, again, another really atmospheric and moody and cinematic jam. There's like intense kind of roads, like stabbing from Peter. Like, it's just, all of this stuff is happening in this thing. And I just love how they found it. It is really, 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 really good stuff. Do you want to pause on this Big Modern and talk about it a bunch? Because I think this is maybe the best Big Modern they've ever played. And Kev, if you're asking if this is on my playlist, absolutely it is.
The only Big Modern that Neal will put on his playlist.
I've got more, but this is higher than all the rest.
Okay. Anyway, yeah. I mean, this does the thing that most versions of Big Moderns don't do, which is go past the peak. And we've seen so many versions this year that do this first 17, 18 minute, like crazy, amazing peak jam, and then they end without even finishing the song. Like they, just kind of, and segue. And so this one goes past that and finds the thing beyond. And that's the thing that Goose has done, or they were doing a few times over the summer, which is the post-peak jam. And it's something that I wish that they would do more, because like this kind of psychedelic, patient, I use that word a lot, that like more low-key space that's just it, like, and layered. Neal loves when I say layered.
We're getting all of them.
Oh yeah. Check the boxes.
If you're playing the game at home, drink.
Yeah.
Textures is next.
There are a lot of textures in this jam. Let me tell you, textural clav, which becomes largely absent as this tour goes on, and that's another thing. Like Peter's playing on this tour, it feels like he was a lot more. First of all, new toy syndrome on the roads, which I totally get. If I bought one of those things and I had it on the road with me, I probably wouldn't play anything else. But it's interesting to hear how much less clav he's playing in jams. We heard over the summer in June, so many things that he was doing on that instrument and the way that he was using kind of the reverb just
Yeah.
to like occupy so much sonic space with the clav. And that's largely absent on this tour, which I think is interesting. There's a lot of playing with the synths and the sequencers and things like that, especially in the Goons jams. But I feel like it's come a little bit at the expense of things like those really cool clav tones. But I'm really happy to hear it here in this big modern. And I would agree with you, Neal. I think this is the best big modern yet. I think that it's the most creative space that we've heard come out of a big modern, and I hope that we're able to see. And we'll talk about the Alpharetta one as well. That kind of goes in a different direction than normal, but it felt for a moment as though they were trying to do something a little bit different with this song. And we know that's a thing that kind of has. I don't want to say plagued, but it's been a thing that Goose has kind of struggled with over the years, which is they get into a formula with a song and then they try to break out of it and they do for a bit and then go back to the formula a little bit, I guess. Like Arrow is a perfect example of that. But
I think sometimes
yeah,
with Hunger Sight, we're seeing that a little bit when they
Oh
transition
my.
out of
absolutely.
it. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And we'll talk about
Yep.
that. But yeah, those are my thoughts on this big modern. Kevin, anything to add?
Yeah.
I kind of just did.
Yeah.
There you go.
Cool. All right. So then we get Wisteria, which is briefly amazing. Cotter hyperspeed drums. I
My
mean,
God.
it is jarring how fast things are going. And I really thought this thing was about to take off. And then it doesn't. They just kind of make a hard turn into Echo. And although
For those of you keeping track of home, for those of you keeping track at home, this
yeah,
Wisteria is the fourth Wisteria played in 2025. It's coming off of the longest gap in the song's history at 25 shows, and continues the streak 4 for 4 versions at this point being brutally ripcorded.
yeah, and it hurt. And
So disrespectful to Trevor. So disrespectful to Trevor.
yeah, seriously. Although he's actually a star in this brief jam. And so then they move into Echo, and this one is perplexing. This is actually more frustrating to me than the ripcorded Wisteria Lane. They just start playing this song, in my opinion, just so they can segue into Electric Avenue.
Right, but
That
like,
is the only reason that they did it.
what if, hear me out, what if they played 6 more minutes of Wisteria Jam and then segued into Electric Avenue out of that instead
Would have
of
been
playing
sick.
Echo?
Or what if they just played 6 more minutes of this really good Electric Avenue jam, which
Electric Avenue Goons, Neal?
is yes. So you get a little bit of Goons again. And I mean, this is a stellar version of this song. What is it, like roughly 14 minutes if you got tracks in front of you, track timings?
14 and a half.
Yeah, it's good. It's really, really good. And then of course that goes right into the mist
Oh,
ending. And it is amazing. And everything about this is wonderful. As I'm experiencing this, I'm like, the Goons is great. The segue is great. Mist ending is amazing. And we're on record on this podcast. We all agree that it's amazing. And then the other amazing thing, which is very personal for me, and I'm sure the band has nothing to do with this. They have no knowledge of this whatsoever. But like Jive Goose fucking hates Electric Avenue. Like fucking hates it. And he fucking loves Into the Mist ending.
I was gonna bring that up, and I think at this point he'd be like, no.
I don't hate it.
I don't hate
Listen, okay. Okay. And then he'd pause for like 12 seconds.
Yeah, yeah. All these things would happen. But like this section of music is actually really, really good.
Yeah.
And the only thing that is really kind of a downer, like if you ignore the fact that you're frustrated by the fact that they cut Wisteria short, and you ignore the echo, all of this is just really awesome music. And I don't know, I love the way this set kind of shook out, other than the very frustrating ripcord. And the mist ending there at the end is awesome. You know, the weird thing that I want to point out here is they segue excellently into You Spin Me Round while they're still playing Into the Mist, and then
And then
they stop,
Classic.
and then they do it again. And like that one, I don't understand. Like I would love to ask somebody from the band, like, what happened there? Like, did somebody wasn't happy you weren't in the right key, but they were in the right key. So
Quick
like,
tempo.
I just don't know. I just don't know what happened there.
No, I mean, but Goose does this. God, the earliest iteration of this I can think of is the Sculpture Park Arrow into Creatures, where they have the segue teed up. They're right there, and then they stop.
It's so weird.
It's like,
So
why?
weird.
But yeah, I mean, and You Spin Me at this point, it's like they're playing it a lot, right? The first one of the tour, and they played it twice on this tour, but we got 3 plays on summer tour, 5 versions for the year so far. Like it's a lot of You Spin Me. I still like this song. But
Yeah.
I guess it keeps the vibe going. But yeah, I agree with you, Neal, that Electric Avenue into the Mist ending is phenomenal.
So good.
And a great use of the ending of Mist. Like now that it's like back on the table, coming into it in this scenario is perfect. And I don't believe it was planned. I don't think it was on the written set, and so like even better. Kev, anything to add on set 2 here?
I love Mist.
Hell yeah. And we love Jive Goose, even though he hates Electric Avenue.
Yeah.
I'm gonna stick up for him here right now. I don't think he would. I think he would push back on all of this hate about Eddie Grant and Electric Avenue at this point.
If you think he would, I would encourage people go check out previous podcasts if you are so inclined, where they played Electric Avenue, and listen to what Jive Goose says about it.
Yeah,
and then you could read the Steve Hyden interview, and then you can write a letter, and then with a couple sleuthy steps, you can figure out where he lives, and you can mail that letter to him.
Well, he's like Santa Claus. You can just send it regionally, and he will get the letter. He'll get the letter.
Jive
That's
Goose,
the only way he can actually communicate.
Colorado.
At Jive Goose on the mountain.
Somewhere. All right. Shall we go to Chicago?
We shall.
All right, so we get September 20th, Huntington Bank Pavilion at Northerly Island, another mouthful in Chicago, Illinois.
A lot of
Set
syllables.
1, Eminence Front, Drive, Iguana Song, SOS, Feel It Now, Dr. Darkness, Peach, So Ready, and Dawn. I will say that if I was at this show and they opened with Eminence Front and then started Drive, especially the way that Michigan kind of went, I'd be like, oh yeah, we're building momentum. Like, let's fucking go. Like we are about to burn shit down. And then there's no jam and Drive. And why?
I don't know. I have no answers for anything that happens in this first set. It is as written a remarkable first set. And there's not much to write home about. I did learn something though in this set, which is
you don't like Future Islands.
I don't really like Future Islands too. And like it's funny, it's like one of those things when like I realized what was happening. I'm like, oh my god, they're playing Future Islands, and I know them, that is a genre that I generally love. And then it dawns on me as washing over me that I'm just not a Future Islands guy. Like I just don't like it. It's a funny thing. I don't know. Maybe it's the new bit. I'm moving on from being a Spoon guy to being a Future Islands guy. I don't know, but
no, you will always be a Spoon guy.
Yeah, I mean, it does sound good though. I think they do a really good job of it, and it is a first set full of a lot of songs, and I think they're all pretty well executed. I can't complain about anything they've done in this. I generally love Iguana Song when they play it, so I'm glad that they played it. And weird that up until now they have not played it. This is the first version that we're talking about on this podcast. I believe that's true. Yeah. So, yeah, that was weird. The Feel It Now in this, I think, was, I don't know, I was happy that it finally came. I was excited about that. And that's it, man. I've got nothing else to say. Nothing.
I will say about Peach, at this night, when I Googled Future Islands, the genre is guitarless synth pop. And I don't think I've ever heard a genre that is more Rick Materatonda in my entire life.
Like, I don't know if that's true.
But like, you think about like, what does Rick listen to? And if someone's like guitarless synth pop,
Yeah.
I'd be like, oh yeah, like that's exactly what he's throwing on.
I'm so
anytime.
sick of
Like,
the guitar.
right? Like no, but like
Yeah,
just the
maybe I
whole
could see that.
concept of synth pop, like a guitarless synth pop. That's like Rick hears, Peach and is like, I could put guitar on that. We should play that. And I mean, it's not bad. It just there are 2 cover debuts, right? 2 cover debuts on this tour, and neither of them really moved the needle for me. And I
Yeah,
know
no,
that
I agree with that
the second one
100%.
sacrilegious to some people.
And I just want to
But
cut some of our listeners into the chat. And I'm not going to tell you who this is directed towards, but Neil
oh
said,
boy,
don't edit me, fuckface."
This is what we do.
this
I
is what we
mean,
do. Okay,
set 2.
set 2. Hugger Sight into Don't Leave Me This Way. Tumble, a big tumble. Empress, Jed Stone, and then an encore of the rest of Empress. And Hunger Sight, Don't Leave Me This Way. I don't have a lot to say here. It does the Hunger Sight thing, and then Don't Leave Me This Way does the Don't Leave Me This Way thing.
It's perfectly
That's
pleasant.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
a lot of fun if you're into that sort of thing. Tumble. This is it. This is the thing from the Chicago show. Some people are calling this jam of the year. I think some of those people have since backed off from that, which is smart of them. This tumble does the tumble thing and then does the man tumble thing for a while. And then for like a glorious minute or two, there's like this post bliss kind of that frenetic thing that they do in the Wisteria in Michigan, with Cotter being an octopus, and really cool organ work from Peter. And I really wish that was longer. And I initially had this way higher on my list because in my head, this section was way longer. And then I went and listened to it again, and I was like, oh, this was not as long as I thought. But shout out to friend of the pod, Dylan, who is, just listens to things and then plays them, who figured out that this is basically just the same Bliss jam as the Man Tumble. So, I mean, it's fantastic, but, there's a reason why Man Tumble won Jam of the Year last year, which is because people love that shit.
It's good. Hey, listen, there's more to it than that. I think you are reducing this down to a little bit more than what it actually was.
I can read
I
more
think-
Neal group chat receipts where he's just like, if you're just going to write off all Bliss jams.
Yeah, well, because don't. I mean, that's the first thing I have to say. But I actually want to start with this Hunger Site because I think you wrote that one off. There's a smattering of interesting Hunger Sites. There's not a smattering. This one is interesting on the tour. And this one ends big. It's like Zeppelin at the end. It's got like big, like kind of blues rock vibes
Hunger
at the
Site
end.
does that.
No, it's bigger in this one. And I think this one is a standout version alongside the other Hunger Sites of this tour. So that is a good way to start off the set. And then you get this tumble. This tumble is awesome. And you left out like the coolest part where Peter kind of has the ocean going. Like the waves are lapping over the crowd. And yeah, there is a Bliss segment in this thing. And the majority of it is Bliss. But there are like really cool parts to it. I think at the very beginning of the jam, you get a lot of interplay between Rick and Trevor. And it's like really playful and it pushes in a couple different melodic directions before it catches the thing, that it eventually becomes. And like that's only like up until like the 16-minute mark. And they've got the theme at that point. And they just keep kind of building and building and building. And then actually, this is a complaint that I have about this jam and I have about Goose jamming in general on this tour, where there is one style. And this is a thing, Ryan, you know what I'm about to say because we talked about this. Kev, you might have heard me talk about this in group chat, which is there's the slow build jam thing, which they've been doing since Cotter's been in the band. And it's getting a little exhausting. It is good and it always sounds amazing, but it's start from very subtle bliss and then build yourself into this amazing euphoric peak. And hey, dude, I love Euphoria just like anybody else, but there's only so much of it you can take. And
before you give it all away.
Here.
Yeah. There's only so much you can take before you give it all away. And so like I love this jam. And so like it sounds like I'm kind of shitting on this jam. I'm not. I actually think it's good. I think I like it a lot more than you do, Ryan. But at the same time, this gradual build, bliss peak, euphoria, triumph thing, after a while feels formulaic and repetitive. And
predictable.
I am a fan of improvisational music. And if it stops feeling like it's improvised, then it stops being exciting for me. And that's the thing that maybe takes a little bit of the edge off of this jam. I do love emotive solos. Rick does those really well, and he does it really, really well here. But there's that thing that just, there's only so many ways you can describe a jam that starts from something very quiet and builds into something very big. Go
And
ahead,
I
Rick.
mean, I think what you just illustrated is why I'm a little harder on this jam than most people, because I'm not just taking it at face value. I'm kind of being like, they've done this before.
Yeah.
And this is still a fantastic jam. I have this ranked, pretty high on my list. I initially had it at 6. It has dropped. It is not in the top 10, but it's still pretty high on my list because in the grand scheme of this year, this is a phenomenal jam. I think it would be higher if this wasn't a style that they've done a lot before. Kev, anything for you on this tumble?
Love it.
This is a guy who likes euphoric bliss
Yeah.
jams.
Yeah. I mean, I do. Can we not?
Neal, you said,
feel like
oh my God, it's okay. Nobody's going to come up
Yeah.
to you on the street and
Nah,
be
you're
like,
gonna
hey,
be fine.
you hate bliss jams.
Yeah.
They're going to do that to me. So
Yeah.
don't worry
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In the encore, we get more of that back alley grime goons into Empress. Yeah, hell yeah.
Dude, hold on, because I think you're underplaying what this actually is.
It's sick.
It's not like
It's really
Empress
sick.
and like that's it. Nobody had any idea what the hell was going on
Right. It's like they're
when it
goonsing.
started. It's just
Don't worry about it.
encore starts full goons. And
Yeah.
it's just like hotter hi-hat, and then it's just like goons. Like all hell breaks loose again. And this is what I love about the goons.
Goons.
Yeah.
People are
There's
gonna be
so many
mad.
bad puns.
And-
there are so many
Yeah.
bad puns you can
You're
make. with that
angering
word.
so many people right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. No, seriously though, I wish they did more encores like this where they just show up and then they just launch into a jam out of nothing, do it, and then segue into a song. I think it's a really creative way of closing out a show, and I think it's a fantastic idea. I just wish they did it more.
All right.
Should we move on?
Yeah, let's go to the show Ohio of Kentucky.
The show Ohio of Kentucky, of course, everybody knows is Covington, but Goose has outgrown Covington, unfortunately, and they need a little bit of a bigger capacity city to host them. And so we're at the beautiful Louisville Palace Theater in Louisville, Kentucky on September 23rd, 2025. And we're going to open this first set with a cotter. My mind has been consumed by media, into All I Need. Neal's favorite friend of the pod, Spoon. I'm sure they all listen. Inside Out. We get Born, and then into a fifth of Beethoven. Hot Love and the Lazy Poet. Spirit of the Dark Horse, and we're going to end the set with a Dustin Hoffman.
I mean, this set is interesting because there is improv happening here. All I Need Inside Out is a really solid 30 minutes of music. It's not going to knock your socks off, but there's some cool interplay happening in this All I Need, and the segue into Inside Out is fantastic.
Yep.
But this begins the kind of mid-tour, what are we doing here kind of thing. Like you're going into these Louisville shows, and it's kind of like last time they played here, it was really sick. You have the Arrow, you have the Born, you have the Redbird, you have the All I Need, and just 2 all-around great shows. And so you come in, you're like one of the 2 multi-night runs on this tour. They're gonna throw down, this is gonna be amazing. And they kind of didn't. And what's interesting to me also is while, Neal, you and I have this eternal debate on whether they're going to repeat songs from the last time they played in that city. And 2 years later, repeats are definitely on the table. But the one thing that is reliable is if they played a huge version of the song, they usually won't play it again the next time. So Salt Shed, for example, the second time they played there, they did 3 nights, no pancakes, no hunger sight, right? Both of those songs were due by the Salt Shed shows, or at least by night 3, and theoretically should have been played, but weren't. Because I'm assuming they were like, we played big versions here. And that's why it's kind of baffling to me to see Born in the middle of this first set. There was one of the best versions of Born, if not the best version of Born they've ever played last time they were in Louisville. And this one just has no jam. And so it's just kind of an interesting pick for me to do this, especially also to repeat a cover like Fifth of Beethoven from the last time in Louisville. And, if I'm a Louisville local who hasn't seen a lot of Goose, you know, I I'm questioning it, and I see them 45 times a year, you know? Like,
Yeah. I mean, but they have done this before. This is not a mysterious thing. They did it. I mean, they played Escape in Montana,
yeah.
of all places, twice in a row.
Yeah, I guess cover is different. But I think really it's Born and then in the next show, what's it called?
Arrow.
Arrow that are the
Yeah.
baffling picks to me.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, not much to say about this. You get a longer than usual for this tour, All I Need, that doesn't really materialize into anything. You get an Inside Out that doesn't really materialize into anything. It's just kind of more of a hard rocker. You get, I think the segue from Born into Fifth of Beethoven is pretty slick.
Yeah.
Uh, you get a rarity in Spirit of the Dark Horse,
Great
Dustin
intro
Hoffman.
on Dark Horse, by the way.
Yeah,
Really cool intro here.
that's it.
But yeah, and then Dustin, it's at this point in the tour, at least where it's getting into these slots where it's closing the first set. I mean, I guess this was two in a row here with Park City and Louisville, where it's like they're tapping into something cool, but it's late. It's the end of the first set. SK's tapping her watch, and they need to get off and take set break. And so that's kind of where this suffers as well. And we'll talk about in the second set the first of three salt encores that happens here. But the time management starts to get a little iffy again, which I mean, I guess it never wasn't, but it starts to kind of show itself as being a little iffy here. All right, second set. Pancakes, Everything Must Go, White Lights into Bob Don with and
Yeah, Kev.
Sinnerman. I mean, Pancakes into Everything Must Go is pretty solid. I like this Pancakes quite a bit. This is the best jam of the show, I think. And we see glimpses of the greatness and the things that they were tapping into in that, honestly, in that butter rum from Michigan and from the Rockdale and Burlington. Like, we're seeing glimpses of that here, but it feels like they're shying away from it in these jams, which I think is interesting. Everything Must Go, we've talked about since February. It's kind of been weird, in that it hasn't truly gone off the deep end again. And I really look forward to when it does. But this pairing to open set two is solid. But again, similar to the All I Need Inside Out, it doesn't really move me a ton. And I really want to love this Pancakes. And I've listened to it a number of times. And there's a lot about it that I like. But I just like it's not quite there for me, if that makes any sense.
Agree. I mean, it just doesn't. I don't know. It doesn't really do anything. The Everything Must Go, I think, does do
I know
some
you
things
like
for
that.
me.
You like this one.
It is good. Well, Everything Must Go as a song is wonderful. If they really lean into kind of the jam section that's built into it, it always sounds good. I've been saying this since they introduced this song. I think the very first version that showed promise was the one at the Stone Pony. I think I was like really excited about it and wanted to be even more excited about it than I was because I knew what the song was capable of. And this one is another one where it gives you a glimpse of what it's capable of and then doesn't really do it, which is better than no glimpse of what it's capable of, which you also get that as well on this tour. So this is the best one. And you get two of them on this tour. This is the first one, and it's good, but not great. So when you say, I wanted to really like this Pancakes and I wanted to really like this Everything Must Go, I think that's a perfectly natural response to seeing these two songs that have incredible versions in the last 2 years, including Everything Must Go, which has two amazing versions in
This year.
2025. Yeah. So if you're kind of feeling, I don't know, like you expected more, that's not an unreasonable thing. And then you get White Lights out of nowhere. I mean, that's the only one. I mean, when was the last time they played that? Shoot, I don't even
Grand
know.
Rapids, 45 shows.
Oh, right. Yeah, of course. And then Bob Dunn with Everybody Loves That. And then you get a slightly goonsy Center Man.
I do not like that.
You don't like the Goons?
Not on that song.
Yeah.
Why
Ryan's
not?
got things to say to you
Care
later on in
to
this
no
tour.
care to elaborate, Kev? I'm curious.
I just think like in the spirit of the song and who wrote the song, like to turn that song into a dance song. I don't know if that's like aesthetically. I don't know if that's
I mean,
mine.
they turned it into a dance song a couple of years ago.
Fair enough.
It's a different level of dance
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. That doesn't mean Kev has to like it now.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
I don't know. Nina Simone would have loved the Goons, I think, and that's probably it. I mean, we've said that on Day After shows already.
Jerry would have
It's
hated
like,
the Goons. Jerry would have absolutely hated the Goons.
That's true.
Nina, maybe. Jerry, no.
I don't know.
No.
Jerry's estate let LPGOB do the things with Jerry songs, so Jerry's estate would have loved the Goons.
Let's talk
Yeah.
about the encore.
Jerry's estate would have loved the Goons. So we get Slow Ready into Salt, no jam on the Slow Ready, and a quick Salt, as we will see. I mean, it's actually not that quick. This is 13 minutes. Oh, this is the encore Salt that does something. This is the
Yes,
one
it
that's
is.
like really sick.
Yeah.
So
I mean, they're
here's
all
the thing
sick, if
with
you ask
Salt.
me,
Here's
but-
the thing with Salt. Yeah, everyone is sick, but we get 3 versions in the encore on this tour because, as I've been saying for how many years now, that Goose needs 5-minute songs that they can play in this slot that aren't Love Light or Don't Do It. And so they have Salt. They refuse to put Animal in this slot, even though it would be great as a 5-minute closer. And other than that, there aren't a lot of songs that they have that can, pack the punch necessary to close out a show here. They did have 15 minutes for this encore. And, could have done something, but
I mean, the Salt wasn't bad. I think it's a
no,
good
no, no.
Salt.
It definitely wasn't. I just think in with the benefit of hindsight, which I think is the point of what we do here, like they did end up playing Salt quick versions at 2 more shows on this tour.
Yeah.
And so I think that this one, for example, could have been substituted with a different song that they could have stretched a little bit, considering
You know
what
if
they could do in 15 minutes.
we're rewriting the encore,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
a thing that we do on this podcast. I generally
Love
don't
doing it.
engage. This is like a thing that you and Jive do. Kevin and I kind of just nod while you do this. But if we're rewriting the encore, I'm not doing the first part of Slow Ready and going into Salt and then
No.
just like leaving it unfinished. That's weird to me. But hey, they had a plan, and you see what happens in this next show, which I think
Put a drip, put the drip there. Give us like 18 minutes of drip.
right? Wouldn't that have been great?
That would have been.
I don't know. I
great.
feel like the weird thing is if you look at what they had played before in Louisville and you look at like what they were about to play in like the next show versus like what they had played there the previous year, like they were kind of painted into a corner set list wise and they couldn't do much. Because I remember thinking about this as I was playing Fantasy Goose, thinking about like what could they possibly play? And I think they just were given no choice but to make a bunch of weird set list calls, and that's what you ended up getting. All right. Segueing into now second night of Louisville at the Louisville Palace Theater, we have September 24th, set 1, Jive 2, Atlas Dogs, Earthling or Alien, Turn Clouds, How It Ends, rarity on this tour, Slow Ready, Finish. At the end of Slow Ready to close out the set. And of course, that the centerpiece of this set is the Earthling or Alien, which is smooth, slow funk vibe. It's like, I don't know, sometimes like I like put on like a lo-fi playlist and like it's just like chill. That is the vibe that you get from this Earthling or Alien. It's not improvisationally deep, but the pocket that they get is just so good. And
Yeah.
I absolutely love it.
Yeah, this is the sibling of the Toronto version, right? Like it's similar kind of. There's a psychedelia to it. This one, Rick and Peter are so dialed in. I like this one feels like a really good example of jamming where the band is split into rhythm section and Rick and Peter, where like Trevor and Cotter are so dialed in, Rick and Peter are so dialed in, but it's not as a group of 4. It's 2 groups of 2. And they do it really, really well here. The way that Rick and Peter are playing off each other and each other's delays and everything. And this is also of note. This is the show that Peter played with the different keyboard rig, with everything basically going through the roads and him only facing one way. So that kind of is just an interesting thing for context with this show. And yeah, like nothing else to talk about in this first set other than that. But this Earthling, if you haven't really been listening to this, go give it a spin. This is about middle of the pack for me, I think, on my list. I have this at 37 on my
Wow, really?
playlist. Yeah.
It's high. I mean, it doesn't do much, but I mean, I like that you have it there.
I
That's a
think see, but I think I don't know. I don't I think saying it doesn't do much is kind of a disservice to this jam. Like it just shows a lot of really unique interplay in a unique way. Like it's a different use of that kind of rolling groove that Cotter does. Right? Like
you wanna hear
it's
one of my hot takes about this show?
yes.
Is I think this is sneaky some of Peter's best playing of the whole entire tour.
Mm.
This particular one, that's my note, actually. The stars of this jam are Trevor and Peter.
Oh, absolutely. Sorry,
So
this
Rick
show or
takes a
this jam?
this jam in
Okay.
particular, but in this show, I really like the way that Peter plays throughout. Um, and yeah, Rick takes a back seat for this whole entire thing, and then Cotter's just always there in your face because of his style. It's just he's always going to be very active, but really, it's just the slow approach that Trevor takes, and the approach that Peter takes, where he's being a little bit creative because he's got a ton of space to do it, and I think the result is a pretty cool jam for Earthling Aurelian, which can be, I don't know, it can be just like a generic funk jam, and they've done a really good job of not making it that. All right, so set 2, we get the Louisville Arrow again. It's just different this time.
Hey, by the way, don't get him confused because this one is not as good as the first one.
Not even close. Not even close. And then you get Rosewood Heart, which is a shorter cousin of Rosewood, the extra lengthy Rosewood Heart from earlier this year, in my opinion. And then you get Tomorrow Never Knows, and then you get Dripfield, which the Dripfield I think is incredibly hot. I really love this Dripfield.
Mhm.
There's a little extra oomph in it. And I think Rick is galvanized by the idea that we are about to have this incredible presence about to be on stage, and he sings it a little extra harder and he plays it a little extra harder or a little extra hard. And I love the result here. I think this Dripfield is actually a very, very outstanding version of the song. One of my favorite of the tour, if not my most favorite. And then, of course, you get Jim James to come out for State of the Art and Don't Do It, which I think also is the best version of Don't Do It they've ever played,
Yeah,
because
man, why
Rick just
not?
goes extra hard. Extra hard. I'm not fluffing it. I'm just saying
No, I
you
mean,
can there
yeah.
you can go extra hard on a cover song if you really want, if you're Rick. And so yeah, that's my vibe for the whole set.
I was just gonna say, like, a lot of growing up on this tour, right? Like the opening for Dave Matthews Band at the Gorge, the co-headlining show at Cole's with Mount Joy, and then you have Jim James here. Like a lot of sort of like growing up in terms of like Goose maturing onto the scene in terms of more like a pop sort of sensibility. I just wanted to kind of throw that out there.
I don't like the pop sensibilities. But this is also, I mean, notable. The sit-in is notable because the Gonzo lineup was just announced a couple days before this show, which obviously has both My Morning Jacket and Jim James acoustic on it, which I'm very much looking forward to because Jacket's always a great time. This set on paper looks incredible. I will say that. Like you look Arrow, Rosewood, Tomorrow Never Knows, Dripfield, State of the Art. Like if I hadn't heard a note of that, I'd be like, oh hell yeah. The
Yeah.
unfortunate part is that both Arrow and Rosewood don't really do much. And that's this is where I get stuck here because first of all, short rest on Arrow, which is fine. Like they do that, and there was a lot of short rests on this tour, but this Arrow is just short of 18 minutes, and it just kind of does the Arrow thing. And then you get Rosewood, and you're like, all right, here we go. Like we're gonna take off here, and you get 17 minutes of Rosewood that just kind of
Boise
does the
Light.
Rosewood thing. I don't
Yep.
even think it goes as far as Boise.
No, it does the same kind of thing that Boise did before it got cool.
Oh,
It's
well,
just
that's just the
yeah,
Rosewood thing.
yeah, right.
So it does the Rosewood thing, and then Tomorrow Never Knows is actually like the jam in here is actually kind of cool. It's like a little bit Goons adjacent, but what I
Hmm.
like about it is they first of all they don't go full Goons obviously, and Cotter doesn't drop into 4 on the floor. He's doing this kind of like different beat that's pretty cool, and I think that as short lived as it is, I think this is like all right, like they're looking for a little bit of inspiration. And then this drip, as you said, Neal, this drip is pretty great. They bring it home very nicely. I think Dripfield was very due at this point. They hadn't played it since MSG, which is actually the longest gap in the song's history. 14 shows in between Dripfields.
Stats.
Yeah, look at that. But
Yeah.
yeah, this Dripfields kind of really like brings it home a little bit. And then State of the Art, I mean, this version with Jim and Rick together was amazing because Jim James is such an amazing stage presence, and he and Rick were like kind of vibing off each other. Really, I mean, the whole band was vibing off him, but like there's a kind of energy he brings to the stage that's like such a commanding presence, but it also doesn't feel like he was upstaging Goose, which was really cool. And so I think that
It
was great.
sounds like you're really appreciating the maturing pop sensibilities of Goose.
Maybe I am, Kev. Maybe I just didn't
Oh
realize it.
man.
And maybe I just want more sit-ins in the second set. That's maybe that's what I
That's
want.
hey, listen, you were shitting on sit-ins, and this is a sick sit-in. Although, I'll say this: I wish Rick did a verse of State of the Art
Yes.
because I think actually, maybe not. Actually, now that I'm saying it out loud, maybe I don't. Like, I would have liked to have heard it, but I don't know how I would feel about it if he'd sang it because I think he does that particular version or that particular song incredible justice, and in a way, he makes it his own. And I think it's great. And so I'm not like a Jacket fan, so like I can't say that I've listened to this since Jim James recorded it and released it. It's not a Jacket song, but um and then I heard Rick do it because I actually had, of course, I had heard it before Goose covered this for the first time in 2020. But there's something about it when they do it, and Rick really does a great job of making covers his own. And I guess my whole point is, it would have been a little bit awkward for Rick to come and do a verse as good as Jim James does it, and Jim James is an absolute fucking god.
And to be honest, like back to y'all's point, like they're of Jim James like playing along but not like upstaging Goose. Like I think it's like sort of reciprocal. Like you do your thing, we'll do our thing, and I don't want to step on you, and obviously there's a better relationship than that, but just a lot of
Mhm.
respect and probably communication obviously went into that beforehand.
Well, I look forward to seeing hopefully future collaborations down in Mexico.
Yeah,
I would also like to say that I will never get tired of looking at the show notes and seeing something like Jim James with Jim James on guitar and vocals. Like when Hornsby
Yeah.
sat in, it's like Bruce Hornsby with Bruce Hornsby on piano and vocals.
it's pretty cool.
Yeah, goat don't do it. Let's go.
It is the goat. It's sick.
Let's go. All right. We're gonna head down now to Alpharetta, Georgia, at the Ameris Bank Amphitheater. First of 2 shows with Penelope Road opening. I will say I actually meant to check this out. What time they went on versus so the curfew at this venue is 11. They went on at 8:05. So basically the thing going into this. Okay, no, sorry, it was 11:15. It was 11. No, but it was 11:15. So theoretically, if we were keeping with the trend of Goose 3.5 hours before ticket time with a 7:45 ticket time, they would have been on at 8 if curfew was 11:15.
So they were five. The point of this,
The point of this exercise is that theoretically the opener did not cost them any show time.
they were 5 minutes late going on.
Basically, yeah. But the grand scheme of things being like we didn't really get less music as a result of the opener, which I think was a worry that some of us had going into these 2 shows. And Penelope Road was fun.
Were you guys
Anyway,
there? Were you guys at the show?
I was.
You were.
Yeah, I
Yes.
was not.
I was at most of these
That's
shows.
too far south for me, man. It's too hot down there.
Well, you
Too
don't
hot.
want to get ported to Newfoundland or
Yes.
New Brunswick. I'm sorry.
New
Hey,
something.
listen, us French Canadians have been shipped all over the place. We've been
All
kicked
right,
out of
all right,
countries over and over. It's
all
a
right.
thing.
You're from
Um,
Boston. Shut up. All
yeah.
right, set 1 here in Alpharetta. Running up that hill into Flowdown, the Whales, Your Direction, Madalena, Animal Yeti. Now, let me tell you, they're like 0 for 2 on these statement opener covers. That they like, like Eminence Front Chicago. You're like, oh, let's fucking go. And then the set just kind of does nothing after that. So like here, you're like running up that hill, opening a show. Let's fucking go. And then they go into Flowdown right after, and it's like, "Ew."
Maybe they should have swapped that.
Yeah, or just
And
take
you're not
Flowdown
going to
out.
like the flow down one way or the other. We all know
Correct,
that.
correct.
Yeah, right.
Then you get the Whales for the first time in 29 shows. So yay. And like so that this set is a festival set, right? Like this is the thing. This is a festival set at a Goose show, and this was a festival crowd, it felt like. And I think that happens with a lot of Atlanta area shows. Even at the Fox last year, where you had a lot of people coming from out of town because it was the Fox Theater. There's a lot of like the Southern audience for Goose right now. There's a lot of people around my age who are like, not as into the music and are there to have a good time. And so therefore are talking a
What?
lot. And so I think the issue is, and we touched on this earlier, is like Goose can play a show where they're not playing like a quote unquote festival set and they jam still, and people will love that. But I think what they haven't, and I'm, obviously this is all conjecture and speculation because we have not had a conversation with the band and how they wrote this set list. But for me, it's like, we're going to play the hits because that's the kind of crowd that we're probably getting here. And I think that that's the wrong way to approach, especially a headlining show. Again, like we're just guys who listen to this band, but you don't need to play, Your Direction, Madalena, Animal Yeti. Now, not complaining about the Madalena because this is the first time it's made an appearance at a headlining Goose show, which is very exciting.
Pick two.
Yeah, but like, yeah, exactly. Pick 2 of those 4. That's a thank you, Kev. That is a very good idea. But like Animal and then Yeti, I will say this Your Direction is 17 minutes, or sorry, almost 18 minutes. It does the kind of jam and peak that Goose can do in their sleep. And the last 40 seconds, they are starting to realize a new idea, and it started to sound really cool. And then Rick decided they were done. And I was not excited about that. And at least Yeti didn't have pumped up kicks in the middle. That's yeah, those are my thoughts on this first set.
So, man, I don't know if I disagree with you much on this set. I do disagree that Your Direction is a jam they could do in their sleep. I mean,
This
they're not
specific
pushing
one.
themselves, but
This
it's
one.
a vibe. Yeah,
It is a
I don't
vibe.
know.
It
Just because
absolutely is. And this is
yeah.
the Jam podcast, but I will listen to Your Direction, any version, any show,
Yeah.
anytime. Gonzo's the best one so far, but I will listen to that song anywhere, anytime, and it'll instantly make me feel better about wherever I am and feeling.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you get like a little delicate piano in there. I mean, it's just a vibe. It's
Well,
so good.
but Your Direction is a vibe, and that's the point that you were illustrating, Kev. But my point is, just because they can do it in their sleep doesn't mean it's not very enjoyable to listen to. I'm just saying that as people who want to see Goose challenge themselves, this is
Yeah.
not necessarily what you
But
want to see for 18
They
minutes.
challenged me to enjoy the vibe, and I
And you accepted.
I rose to the challenge.
so, I mean,
Oh.
this is the Shed formula, though, right? Like we talked about
Always.
this every time they've played CMAC. I feel like there's just like the hits,
Specific
I don't know.
sheds, not SPAC.
Yeah, not SPAC, but like CMAC for sure. It's like hits show, especially the first CMAC show kind of mirrors this show in terms of just like, let's get out there and do the hits for the people, But yeah, man, not much else to say about this particular set. Cool that Madalena made an appearance. Once again, giving us hope that it might show up at like more shows for the rest of
No,
the tour. But
it's
this
not
is it.
gonna
This is the
show
last
up.
one you get. It's all over at this point. But you do get another animal, and you do get another Yeti.
Hell yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Set 2.
Yeti's the closest thing to Goons you get in this show. All right, set 2. Coming out hot with Fish in the Sea, Big Modern, Loose Ends, This Old Sea, and Madhavan with a hot tea encore. This is the first Loose Ends of the year. Last played at the Anthem in DC last November, 59 shows.
What did they tease that in before they actually played it? I was listening to this and I was like the Leonardo DiCaprio like pointing meme, like loose
What do you
ends.
mean?
Loose ends.
Where did they
They, like-
tease
no,
it before they played it?
It's in Big Modern. They
Yeah.
tease it,
Thank
and
you,
then
sir.
10 minutes later they play it.
Yep.
It's not a tease. This is a CCP. They hint at the loose ends.
My
they don't.
guy,
Nobody
come on.
actually plays the riff.
You have your definition of what a tease is, and I don't disagree with your definition of a tease, but sometimes colloquially we will say that's a tease, and it doesn't mean it's a tease on a particular site that catalogs these things.
Yeah, I wasn't insisting that you needed to note it and write it down as such. For the casual listener at home.
Literally everybody
I was
knew.
Really pointing out and highlighting that there was a
Okay.
similarity there.
Okay.
Exactly. So when they were hinting at the
Thank you.
loose ends that they were going to play like 12 or 13 minutes later or whatever it is, everybody fucking knew it. Everybody who knows loose ends was like, oh, that's loose ends. And whether or not it's actually a tease that gets noted is an entirely different thing.
Yeah,
I just want to be clear about that. We can have the official like definition of what it is, and then we can also have this kind of thing that we will say in casual speech about we're referring to. Of course, they've referenced it, and anybody who has ears would know it.
Just don't use the word tease, and then we're good.
Jesus
just
Christ.
trigger Ryan Storm.
Reference.
Okay, so can we go back and talk about the
Yes.
set now?
Okay.
So there was a similar theme that emerged in the Big Modern that would be echoed later when they actually played loose ends, which was very interesting to note at the time, Mr. Storm.
Thank you, Kev. This is the Big Modern that I referenced earlier that tries to do something outside the mold. And this will come along every once in a while where they will be in a formula with a song and there will be a statement version that is like, okay, we're trying to do something else with this. And so this is that version. They don't do the peak thing in this version. It is 18 minutes or 17 or 18 minutes. And they don't do the typical Big Modern peak jam here, which I really appreciate. And it's interesting because obviously the end goal is loose ends. And there are those couple of modulations that Rick cues in the talkback. So it's like not quite organic per se, but it's something different, which I appreciate. And there's a few moments in this jam where it feels like they're really, again, like they're so close. They're on the verge of breaking through to something new. And there's this interplay happening and it just never quite materializes. And I will say the last couple of minutes before they go into loose ends, when they drop into that, like, Peter does this kind of low key synth funk groove. I mean, all of them are doing it, but like Peter's on the synth. And I think there was something starting to cook there, but Rick was kind of in an ADD mode in this show. It felt like, again, like in the Your Direction and again in this Big Modern, then he finally lets it breathe in the Madhavan. But these two jams, especially, it felt to me as he was like they're just starting to get somewhere, and he's like, let's play the next thing. And so that's kind of my feeling on this. But the effort is appreciated in this jam.
Yeah,
and you don't hear it.
Yeah. I don't know.
Jump shot caveat.
Well, you kind of glazed over this Fish in the Sea, which I think is actually quite nice.
Fish in the Sea thing, and it's destructive and hot, and it's awesome.
But you didn't say any of that. You didn't say any of that.
Yeah, you didn't say any of those things.
That's a good point. Okay, so this Fish in the Sea is fucking hot.
It's fucking hot. Like Fish in the Sea in 2025 is fucking hot, and this one has some kind of vibes that they get from the New Hampshire version. You made a twisted face at me when I said this on the day after show. I still mean it. They don't go to outer space with it like they do in New Hampshire.
Bingo, man, give me a bad Fish in the Sea.
But they have that whole Santana featuring Rob Thomas vibe in there. It's I mean it is I mean in any case, it's smooth. It's a lot of smooth in there. And so that's cool. And then so we move on to this big modern. And here's my hot take, and this is going to really piss you off. What if we say that big modern ends and then we get a 13-minute greatest of all time intro jam into loose ends?
And I say
What would you
no.
say
And
if
you
I
know
said that?
why? Peter didn't track it as such. Therefore, it's
Well,
not
you know
loose
what,
end.
man? That's inconsequential here.
And
We're having a
Seekers
conversation
2
about the
didn't
music.
jam in Cleveland.
But if you really think about
you're
it,
very inflexible.
if you
No,
really think about
I'm
it,
not
so
flexible.
they hint at loose ends.
Yes.
They hint it,
Yep.
and then they have a whole entire jam that sounds nothing like Big Modern. Your words that you just used, and then they
What?
play
No.
loose ends.
No. I said that it doesn't do the normal thing that Big Modern does.
What I'm gonna love about this is when Goose develops what you're talking about right now into a song, and they track it on a piece of vinyl, and I'm gonna be like,
Vinyl Kev.
it's all over. It's all over at that point, and it is a song. So
Oh,
I'm
there
just
you go.
saying, man, sometimes the gems are a matter of perspective. We have a couple of those things to talk about actually still before this ends. And like, it's a big loose ends jam. And it's, in my opinion, this is the greatest loose ends of all time.
the
Well,
loosest event.
Well, so let me ask you a question though. What is the greatest loose ends? And that it's not relevant to what I'm saying right now, but what is the greatest loose ends?
probably this one. I think the other the longest loose ends is 4:16:23. That was out of a tumble, and I think had some jamming in it. But I mean,
don't remember.
I'll give you
I have
this.
no recollection of it at all.
This is the second longest loose ends ever.
Maybe it's the GOAT. Maybe it's the longest ever. Some might say.
Maybe it is.
So moving right along. So then you get This Old C. And again, you kind of glazed over this one. This Old C is a typical version of This Old C. And then it stops being This Old C. It's another song entirely. Do you know what song it is?
Fill? What song is it?
It's fucking Nights in White Satin.
Oh, yeah, that kind of vibe. Well, when Cotter
the
does
whole
that,
entire rest of the song is Nights in White Satin. And then Rick is like absolutely playing a jam off of that. And the guitar solo that he plays in this is fucking remarkable. He plays, I don't know, this is a ballpark estimate, like 1,000 notes in about a second and a half. And this thing
good
is
ballpark.
Nuts.
Give or take.
It is nuts, this solo. And it's a straight shred version of Nights in White Satin.
Neal, would you characterize the Nights in White Satin as a tease?
No, in fact, it's there's nothing about this that can be noted anywhere that it's a Nights in White Satin jam. But I'm telling you, listen to this and tell me it's not Nights in White Satin.
Themes.
It is crazy how good.
It contains elements of Nights in White Satin.
Similarities too.
Yeah.
So that is sick. And then of course you get the Madhavan to end the show that sends everybody packing. Get the fuck out of there.
People were walking out of the venue during the jam. I was loving it. It was amazing. I turned to friend of the pod, Griffin, who I was next to at this show. When they started Madhavan, I was like, I hope they scare the shit out of these casuals. And they did. Thanks, Goose. Yeah, this Madhavan's fantastic. 2 guitar Goose. You get just like evil shit for the first half, and then they make this pivot into bliss. I think this jam is a precursor to the Columbus Wisteria. The Columbus Wisteria is a much better kind of version of this style of yin and yang, if you will. I will say there's a really, really cool moment once they're in that bliss jam in this Madhavan where Peter is like really kind of just opens up the delay and reverb on the Rhodes while he's playing guitar and is like, lays down some Rhodes texture and then goes back to playing guitar and then lays down some more Rhodes texture, keeps playing guitar. And I will say, like, and Neal, I know you're going to have more to say about this jam, but the ending of Madhavan doesn't hit quite the same when he's on organ. It like with that, like just that old school, like both of Rick and Peter just like shredding through that ending on guitar just makes me very happy when that happens.
It's because it's sick.
It's so sick.
All right, man. So the Goose darkness thing, I think, I struggle with this a lot because I think there are a lot of people out there who are detractors of the darkness. They say like it's a parlor trick or something like that, and I've been really trying to root out like what it is that I love about like the cacophony, the chaos, the darkness, whatever you want to call it.
It's rock
And
jazz, man. It's fucking rock jazz.
it's more than that. It's before that. And the funny thing is when I was in college, I had to take like, everybody when they take like their electives in college, you have to like hit a certain number of like requirements, right? And so I took, yeah, let's open a beer because I'm about to go off. So I took I took a classical music class, and like it was just like classical music appreciation. I was like, I'm totally gonna dig this, whatever. And this is not like jazz. This is not like Zappa. Like this is earlier than that. Like this kind of stuff is high art. Like the idea of juxtaposing beauty and darkness and evil and dissonance is hundreds of years old in music, and some of the most appreciated music. Like Stravinsky was known for kind of juxtaposing chaos and beauty, and so when we kind of try to diminish this and say it's dumb or like it doesn't sound good, I think you're extending a middle finger to some of the most excellent musicians of our time who have shaped music as we know it. And I strongly disagree with you. Please don't reduce the kind of juxtaposition of beauty and chaos to like it doesn't sound good. Because
Preach.
sometimes,
Yeah,
sometimes
lot of subtext there.
sometimes it's not about what it sounds like, it's about what it feels like. And if you're into improvisational music, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's not about what it sounds like, it's about what it feels like. And this jam feels amazing
And
to
for
me.
me, to be honest with you, it's not just what it feels like, it's like what they're actually fucking doing, because that's not easy to do.
Yeah.
Like it's not easy to like delay fucking beats, and it's not easy to do that. And so for them to even like step their feet into that territory and be vulnerable, let's be quite honest, as musicians, that they might fuck it up, I think that's pretty courageous.
Yeah, and there's two kinds of this also. Like there's the Doctor Darkness intro, which is all of them independently just making weird sounds, and then there's this, which you need like there's cohesion, right? It's dark and it's weird, but they're playing together, and they're like that's way more difficult than playing a major key peak. And so this is the challenging thing, right? Like so, yeah. This the end of the day,
But
this
but,
Madhavan's
but
pretty
at the
great.
same time, like Goose, as the organization, they recognize that they can't do that all the time,
Yep.
because fucking people are going to show up to listen to that, and require quantities to make it worthwhile to do. But again, for them to do that, to step into that space occasionally for a few minutes at a time, to give us the extent of their musical talent, I think it's pretty fucking courageous for them to do that.
Yes. And just final thought on this, if I can have the last word on it, is it is not a jam band parlor trick. It is art. It is the most excellent music that we have as a culture reimagined in jam music.
Wow, we
So
got deep here.
yeah,
Anyway, I have this Madhavan at 13 overall right
damn right
now,
you should.
and it's my second favorite jam of this tour.
Fuck yeah. All right.
And then we encore that shit. Hot tea. Let's go, Charlotte.
September 27th, 2025, Goose makes it to PNC Music Pavilion in Charlotte, North Carolina. Royal is the opener. We move into Iguana Song, a Father John Misty cover. I'm Writing a Novel comes after that. Drive, Me and My Step Uncle, John Phillips song comes after that. Your Ocean, Silver Rising, and then we end the set with a Hunger Site.
I mean, this is a solid set. Like this show is interesting because the jamming doesn't get super deep, but this is one of the more well-rounded shows of the tour. I think Royal's a great opener. You get a good showcase of the newer material here with Royal and Iguana. Drive, Me and My Uncle is great. You get a little bit of improvisation mid-set. The segue is fantastic. There are two fantastic segues in this show. I would say the only drawback to this set is Silver Rising. When they play Silver Rising late first set, you can feel the encore slipping away. Like it's like we're 65 minutes into the set or whatever, like, or we're closing in on an hour, and there goes the encore because we've burned 9 minutes here. Hunger Sight does the Hunger Sight thing and then does the heavy rock thing at the end. It's pretty hot. Your Ocean, though, kind of a long gap on this guy. 31 shows.
Question.
Yep.
Did they earn it?
First set, maybe.
Oh man, that's the only thing I could think of when I looked at the set. It was like, well, what can I say about this set? Well, I'm gonna ask Ryan if they earned the Euro Ocean. Unlike you though, I dig Silver Rising. I think the new arrangement of Silver Rising is dope, and I enjoy the hell out of it. I do love the segue from Drive into Me and My Uncle. That's a hard song to segue into, by the way,
Yeah.
because it starts so weird. It's not. I don't know. I don't know how to describe it, but I think musically, it doesn't fit in with Drive at all. Yet somehow they weave it deftly.
Well, and this is the thing about Charlotte versus Alpharetta is that Alpharetta, I talked about, Rick was a little bit erratic and, kind of like pulling them out of things. Charlotte, it's the opposite, right? Like suddenly there's the patience that he didn't have the night before.
Yeah.
And so it's interesting. Layers, textures, patience.
Yep.
Drink.
I was actually being serious. I wasn't trying to.
No. I know. I turned it into a joke. But yes, you're absolutely right, Kev.
You know what's interesting though? I do have to say this because I often complain about the openers of a show. Royal Iguana Song is a hell of a way to open a show. I love that shit, and I want to see it more. That's it. That's all I have to say about it.
I want to see more Royal anywhere.
Yeah, right.
Move on to set 2.
Well, you got to be careful. Well, I was gonna say you got to be careful with how much you want Royal because there's only so much you can take before you give it all away. Like
that's fair. Give it all away.
Yeah. All right. Set 2.
Set 2, man. We're gonna open this up with Thatch. Creatures into a Bob Seger Silver Bullet Band. Favorite Hollywood Nights. So sad B's not here. And we're gonna round out this set with So Ready, and eventually we're gonna encore that shit with Give It Time.
This is this solid set. This is solid. When you have time constraints and this is what you're working with, this is very solid. Thatch is interesting because outside of MSG and Bend, really, I don't know if I'm missing any others. But Thatch has just kind of done the Thatch thing a lot of times this year and hasn't really ventured too far off the beaten path, obviously, except for one of the best jams of the year and a really, really great version of MSG. Other than that, it's been pretty standard.
Sick, it hasn't been,
other than when it's been sick, it hasn't been that sick. But this one does the Thatch thing for around 15 minutes, and then suddenly we're in like Dark Dissonant territory for a little while, which very, very pleasant treat, which I loved. And then just absolutely massive creatures here. So you get the Goons, the back alley grime Goons, which is the theme of the Goons of this fall tour. And then you get 5 minutes of segue into Hollywood Nights. Let me tell you, as somebody who is clinically insane and should be put in a straitjacket for how closely I listen to jam bands, I heard Hollywood Nights around 3 seconds after Peter started playing it, and I had the post ready for the set list, and then I was just waiting for them to drop into it. And it's so cool the way that they just like bit by bit just like get a little closer and a little closer and keep going. And like just the layers and the patience.
There it is.
Textures on the synth. Oh man. So good. And and then they finally drop it to Hollywood Nights. And I mean, let me tell you, if Jeff Hill were at this show, he'd have been running around the empty lawn like shirtless. And honestly, I'm kind of upset I didn't go up to the lawn during this Hollywood Nights because I feel like just running in circles on an empty lawn. So for those of you who don't know, we talked about this on the day after show, but for this show, because this venue in Charlotte's pretty big, anyone who had bought a lawn ticket, they moved them into the pavilion. And normally when they do that at a show, at least in my experience, I've seen a couple of these. I saw TTB in Toronto at the beginning of September. Lawn was closed and it was roped off. There was security. Like, you couldn't go onto the lawn. At this show in Charlotte, if you bought a lawn ticket, you got moved into the pavilion and they gave you a ticket, but anyone could still go onto the lawn. So it's basically a spinner's dream. There was like this giant lawn that fits 10,000 people or whatever with like a few hundred people on it. So I imagine that going and running around in circles on the lawn during this Hollywood Nights might have been like the most fun ever.
Just pop the top, shirt overhead,
Spinning it around. Yeah.
spinning it around. Yeah. Friends of the pod, David and Corey would have had the time of their lives at this place. Not for popping the top, but just for spinning on the lawn because they're notorious spinners.
Well, that's our vibes detour for this episode.
Well, I mean, this set is vibes, dude. It's just vibes,
it is.
and they're
except
good.
for the
they're
except
really
for the,
really good.
The dissonant part in Thatch. Everything else is vibes.
Yeah. I mean, Thatch, there's an extended kind of slow funk part of this Thatch, which doesn't go into full-on dance party Thatch, which I think is good. This Creatures, Goons, and then I will use the word patient segue into Hollywood Nights. I mean, this is an all-timer segue. Mark it. I said it. Then you get so ready with the guys from
Penelope Road.
Oh yeah, that's what it is. Penelope Road.
Max Moore on guitar and vocals, Charles Eastman on keys and vocals. They did a fantastic job.
They did.
So
a great
Ready's
job.
a song that Penelope Road has covered before. Those guys seem jazzed to be up there. And it's funny when they come up, Peter's like talking to Charles and it's like, yeah, man, like I don't use the Rhodes on this one. And I'm standing over here. Like, you use whatever you want.
Dude fucking crushed it on the Rhodes, by the way.
He
Can we talk about like how good he did on the Rhodes? Like,
yes.
I think the way that they actually found their spots in that song, the weird thing actually about this song that I noticed, and I actually watched this a couple times. I don't know how I ended up watching it a couple times because it's not the kind of thing I would normally watch.
As you watch Creatures Hollywood Nights, then it's just there.
And then it just like comes on after. Yeah. One, I was struck by how well, what's the keyboard player's name?
Charles Eastman.
That dude crushed it on the Rhodes. And then the guitar player, Max, just had every single hit, like just nailed to the point where I think at one point Rick gave up. Did you notice this?
No.
And like looks at him like, what are you going to do? Like he almost like expected him like take a solo or something. And then Rick like jumped on and like played a solo. And it almost looked like Rick didn't know the song because he was looking at this dude for like the cues.
Nice job, Max.
And I thought that was like amazing. So like when he said the thing before they played the song, we're like, oh, they've been playing it for a minute and they probably know it better than we do. Then they actually demonstrate playing the song that actually maybe Rick was expecting them to know it better than he does, which is remarkable given that they've been playing. I mean, they've been playing So Ready for over 10 years. So, so that's bananas. What else is there to say about this? Oh, give it time encore. Yeah, that's sick.
Yeah, they did it. All right. And then the next night, Goose did not play a show. Most definitely not. I mean, we're not going to talk about it, but they did play a show at the Revelry in Charlotte for the Music Club, private show in a ballroom, probably like 400 people. Really cool to see Goose in that room.
What was the context of that? Was it a fundraiser or
no? So it's the Music Club of Charlotte, which is like an organization in Charlotte where you like basically pay an annual subscription, and I think it's 3 times a year they have bands come and play. You don't know who you're going to see until you show up, presumably. They've had, Goose did it last year and this year. They've had Mountjoy. I think they've had Krungbin, a couple other bands, but
that's
basically
a cool
see them
concept.
in this really small setting, open bar, open food. Cool. Goose show with an open bar is an experience.
Yeah, there's rumors of a past open bar Goose show, which was a Goose Miss, I think, where they had open bar.
Oh well, like the first
sliders stood no chance.
Free liquor. No, not that one.
Not that one.
Not that one. Years before.
It's several,
and then they said no more open booze at Goose Miss.
Yeah, never again.
Never
But
again, they said.
this one was fun. You know, get a
And
Christmas
then
card encore.
after Neal, they were like, no more freestanding plates of sliders.
Well, that's
No more
actually true. That
sliders.
hasn't been done
Yeah,
since.
there we go.
That hasn't been
All
done
right,
since.
let's go to the
Kemba.
Showhio of Showhio, as Peter put it so eloquently before the show. Fuck you,
Yeah.
Neal.
Yeah, Kemba Live, which I'm not really sure where that comes from. It's actually very short in terms of syllables.
There's an
We're not
exclamation
used to
point.
that.
It's like Big
But
Modern.
they
Kemba
do
Live.
have they do have punctuation.
Kemba Live.
Huzzah. You know what's weird actually is like when you're watching this show, they just like zoom out and then it's just like bright Kemba Live sign on there.
This venue sucks.
Which yeah,
I never want to go back to this
like,
venue.
I mean, like if there's any way that anybody can communicate to the people who own that venue, like fucking get rid of that sign,
I think
please,
it's there
for God's
for a
sake.
reason.
Yeah, I know what it's there for. It's for branding, but
Neal.
like it fucking ruins the light show. In any case, okay. September 30th, 2025, Kemba Live, outdoors, not indoors. There's a story about that, but we're not going to talk about that. You have to go see the day after show.
Salty as fuck, Neal. Let's go.
Yeah. So go check that out if you want to see the day after show for that, or you want to hear about what's weird about that venue. Set 1, Dr. Darkness. My mind has been consumed by media. Interlude 2, the finest of all ludes, into Jive 1. Turbulence, the Night Rays. Spain, semi-bust out. Please forgive me. Somewhat ironic. They've done this before where it's just like, we just unloaded the tank of a whole bunch of stuff and we're super sorry about it. Like, let's move on from that.
Let's treat them to Chattanooga's favorite son.
Yeah, Chattanooga's favorite son. And then this show heats up.
Woo-wee.
And this show gets real interesting really fast. This is one of my favorite shows of this tour for a roughly 1 hour stretch of music that begins with this Jive Lee. It is actually interrupted by a set break. So we don't count the set break in that 1 hour. But all right. What do I have to say about this set? Nothing at all until Jive Lee. And the Jive Lee is just, I mean,
God, it's so good. It's so good.
Okay. So it is really good. Rick does what Rick does incredibly well, and from nowhere he grasps melody. And he introduces that little piece of music that becomes the central idea for everything that happens for the rest of the jam. And it's immediate. And this is a 20-plus minute version of Jive Lee. What are the minutes on it? Is it
21?
21. Okay. And so you get 20 minutes of an established musical idea. And so the second that idea happens, the rhythm section just absolutely takes off. Trevor is amazing. Cotter is amazing throughout this whole entire thing. All the while, they're just kind of building up this musical idea. And it's Rick and Peter together kind of building it up. And then eventually it just becomes this thing that sounds like it's completely composed. And I don't know how they do it. This is the kind of thing that gives me goosebumps when I listen to this band, where it's just like, how did they get to this spot? How did they make this amazing piece of music out of nothing? And I guess that's the cool part about Jive Lee is that it occasionally will do this thing. And you get bliss, triumph, peaks. I mean, it's all happening in this thing. The gamut of what Goose can do. And underneath it all is an extended 21-minute drum solo of Cotter Ellis absolutely going fucking insane from beginning to end. I mean, this is a piece of music that I'm really, really excited about. I have this one decently high in my playlist. I haven't slotted everything yet, but it's going to be high because I love it.
I have this at 20.
All right.
I will say that this is where that kind of like ADD kind of vibe that I talked about in Alpharetta, it comes back in this jam from Rick, but it works. Like he's pulling the band in so many different directions for kind of the first big chunk of this jam. And for a while that, at the show, I was kind of like, is this gonna go the distance? Like, are we just gonna kind of like fuck around for a while and then go back? But yeah, I mean, aside from everything just riding on this bedrock of Cotter just being an absolute monster, this is one of those moments where it clicks, right? One of those moments on this tour where it clicks. And I don't know what it is about this, Tuesday night in Columbus that was like, weirdly way out of the way of the tour. They went from Charlotte to Columbus to Richmond. Lots of people skipped this. I said, fuck it. I'm not missing the one Ohio date on this tour, and took 4 flights to get there and back from Richmond. Worth it, let me tell you. I was questioning whether it was worth it or not during Please Forgive Me. I will say that. I was like, during that song, because I've gone on record as not loving that song. And during it, at the show, I was like, man, like, did I make a mistake coming to this show? And then this Jive Lee happened, and I was like, okay, like we're good, thank God. But yeah, I mean, this is just a plethora of ideas. I will say I love Trevor in this jam, and the things that he's doing as they're kind of reaching the home stretch. I think it's just before the 20-minute mark, or around the 20-minute mark. He does a couple of fills that I was listening to this earlier today, and I was like, oh my fucking God. Like, this is just insane. And all of them are doing this kind of thing. But yeah, this is, I don't know. Is this the GOAT Jive Lee? Is this better than Fiddlers and Northlands?
I don't know, dude. I haven't done like the AB.
Maybe that ABC.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think it's I'm not just uncomfortable right now. I think it's sort of disrespectful to initiate that conversation without Jive here.
Mr. Colorado himself.
It's a good thing he's not here. Yeah, man.
It's good. I mean,
this
stuff. First set, interesting. Spain. It is. By the way, you said semi bust out. That's 103 shows. That is a bust out. Last played Portland 2024. First time on the roads. Very cool. Little flubby, but a nice treat.
Yeah. I have a problem with calling covers bust outs, but
I mean, it's still, when they don't place anything for 103 shows, like, that's a
that's a long time.
You know what's a bust out? Like when they play Dragonfly again, that's a bust out.
Oh,
that's
God,
a big
deal. Don't tempt me with a good time. Yeah. Goosemas, bust it out at Goosemas.
Yeah, do it, please, for the love of God. It deserves to be played. For fuck's sake, it's such an amazing piece of music.
It's so good. Good job.
I
Shoehorning in obligatory Dragonfly request. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right, should we talk about the second set? Or should we talk about the first 40 minutes of the second set?
Yeah, that's what we should talk about. I mean, holy shit, did the wheels fall off the wagon?
Did they ever?
But so you get an well, I'm just gonna read the set list, and then I'm gonna try to work my way through
That's the butter rum you guys were talking about earlier.
Oh yeah, this is that rum. This is that rum. Oh my goodness. Okay, so you get an arrow to open the set, and this is an unusually good arrow in my opinion. You get the jam of the tour, in my opinion, the Wisteria Lane. And I'm going to talk about it in a minute. You get Western Sun full arrow segue into a heartbreaking butter rum. And then
still hurts.
You get like, I mean, again, this is like, I wish Jive was here, because this is like a giant extended middle finger to Jive Goose. Hot tea can't get you out of my head. Hot tea. I mean, that's you can't make this shit up.
Butter
rum. Can't make it up.
Tea, Kylie tea. Yeah, that's a fuck you to Jive Goose.
Rum, tea, Kylie tea. I mean, that's nuts. And so, okay, so we've talked about this set list in a kind of, we're looking at it on a paper thing, and it's just like, well, what do you make of this set? It could be either or on this particular tour. This could be amazing or horrible. It is a little bit of both. And so, okay, so let's talk about the music. I love this arrow. It does a couple different things. So you get textures from Peter laying down textures on the synth. And then you get like a little bit of like playful, quirky, like Peter jamming, which is like so absent from this tour, is like just Peter's, I don't know, personality, his vibe, like in jams where he's introducing musical ideas. You get so little of that. And I think that is part of the reason why we're a little bit bummed out about the improv on this tour, because Peter's not in there driving improv. He's augmenting sounds. He's doing things like synth swells and doing weird sounds and stuff like that. But he does it in this jam. And I think it, kind of lends itself to like a pretty cool little bit of a jam. And then, he's like he introduces a bunch of weird riffs. So he does like a little bit of a lowrider thing. And then he finds like a talking head psycho killer kind of thing. And then Rick does like a little bit of like arena rock kind of vibe, and you know they kind of oh yeah, that's right. This is the jam where they find their way back to the smooth Santana featuring Rob Thomas jam again, which is just like Fish in the Sea from the other night. And it's so cool. Like this thing is unhinged. Nothing about this, like you were saying ADD earlier, nothing about this jam makes sense. It goes to 1,000 different places, and I think it's just Peter being Peter. And that's what I love about this band is when Peter's introducing musical ideas, and sometimes they come at a fast and furious pace, and that happens here. You get Lowrider, you get Psycho Killer, and then you get friggin' Smooth Santana featuring Rob Thomas. And I know that's not
Yeah,
what their intent
baby.
is. I
Yeah,
know that's
baby.
not what their intent is, but that's what it sounds like to me. So you get three distinct musical ideas that get introduced into this like Arrow jam that make it really, really cool, in my opinion. This is the Arrow that I like, not Arrow of the same musical idea the whole entire 20
One of
minutes.
the cover debuts at Goose this year is gonna be Smooth.
Let's hope. One can only hope. Okay, so
I would
then
fucking love that.
do we want to stop at this Arrow? Let's talk about the Arrow and then move on to the Wisteria, because I got lots of thoughts on the Wisteria too.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of said a lot about what there is to be said about this Arrow, but like I just want to highlight the fact that it's a different Arrow. It doesn't just do the
Yep.
Arrow thing, and that's what I was kind of worried about opening another second set with Arrow. Like you remember in the group chat, I was like initially kind of disappointed. That's four, or that this is the third second set of the tour to open with an Arrow, which is like at this point, it's like okay, like this is what we're doing. Like we're opening with Arrow again, especially because the other two hadn't done a whole lot, and so this was a very pleasant surprise. But yeah, I don't have a ton to add beyond what you said, Kev. Anything on your end?
Are we still talking about Jively?
All right, let's talk about
Okay.
this Wisteria.
All right.
Oh,
Wisteria.
baby.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So, I mean, it's really, really good. And I don't know
Yeah.
how many words I have to describe this. I actually had more words to describe the Arrow that's half as good as this
I have a lot.
Wisteria.
This is my
Um,
number 6.
yeah, I mean,
Wow.
this is gonna be a 1 or 2 seed in the bracket. It might be a 1 seed,
I hope
depending
so.
on where people's opinions lie. I mean, this
Wisteria.
Wisteria is bananas. I mean, it's Two Guitar Goose. It is the essence of, I think, what makes Two Guitar Goose great throughout this entire thing. The interesting thing is Peter actually steps away from the guitar momentarily, and he's excused for doing that because he alters the speed of time and absolutely melts my fucking brain every time I listen to this thing.
And then he
Like I
goes
don't
back
know
to
what
guitar.
the hell he does, but somehow he changes the speed of everything, which he's obviously not doing. It's an illusion, an auditory illusion. But it's something that he does on the synth, and like that absolutely blows my mind. And then they just kind of go back to, I mean, I don't know. It's just there's like bliss vibes to it, and then the way that it ends, to me, sounds like the Perry Echo,
Yeah.
which in my opinion was my favorite jam of 2021. I think was on record for that,
Yeah,
which
no, you were in the minority there, but that definitely was you.
yeah, it does like kind of this like very dramatic kind of swelling thing that they
Bum,
do in this
bum,
jam at the very
bum,
end. But yeah, it's so
bum.
good.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you have more nuanced thoughts, Ryan. But
Yeah, I mean,
um,
I have the moment in I mentioned earlier how this is the more improved version of the Alpharetta Modavan. That's an oversimplification of it, just because that's literally does the two guitar dark into two guitar bliss thing. But
yeah,
there's a moment that they're in that industrial churn thing and they're deep in it, and then Cotter hits the double time, and it's not just a double time pivot. It just completely shifts the whole mood of the jam. And it just adds so much momentum to it immediately. And to me, it's like the pivot that he makes in the Gonzo Torero, which underrated. Neal won't have you believe that.
I
But
don't like that word.
yeah.
Goose, bring Torero back.
Also, yeah. Where the fuck is Torero?
Yeah, we didn't talk about Torero once today, and we're not going to talk about Torero once today because they didn't fucking play it.
Ridiculous.
Talking about it right fucking now.
Yeah, we're talking about it now. Play it. But this Wisteria legitimately is Like this jam gave me hope for the last 3 shows of the tour. Like this was like we needed a top 10 jam at some point. Like it was like we've gone without the Alpharetta Modavon was amazing. You know, we have the Michigan Big Modern is amazing. The Chicago Tumble is amazing. But this to me felt like from minute 1 to minute 20, they are in it. This is also the first Wisteria of the year. I mentioned earlier we were 0 for 4 on not getting ripcorded. Congratulations. 2025 is now 1 for 5 on Wisterias. Crushing it. Great ratio, great batting average. But this Wisteria is really, really what we needed. You know, there's a moment in the middle where it's like, might ripcord it, but they didn't. And man, this Bliss Jam that they get into is like, this is the release. So we talked about with the Burlington Rockdale how it's all tension, no release. This has
Right.
both, and it's beautiful. And you get the patience again, right? Like, again, overused word by me for sure, but you get the patience in the second half and the way that also 2 guitar Goose, it's wonderful. And then Peter goes to piano, and it's still wonderful. And yeah. And then honestly, right, it seems like we're heading for like, oh my God, this set's going to be some shit. Like Western Sun, and they start jamming it. And I was like, oh, like, yeah, let's go. And then Rick starts playing Butter Rum. And we go from this could be an absolutely incredible set to just driving off a cliff. And I will give Cotter all the credit in the world for trying to jam out this Butter Rum, because he shifts into the like more disco-y vibe that happens when they're going to jam out the Butter Rum. And Rick just doesn't go for it. He just plays a Butter Rum. And I have to ask, like, your mid-second set, like, why?
No one
Why,
knows.
Rick? Why?
No one knows. The
Like,
rest of the set is a mystery. I just don't get it.
listen,
Yeah.
they start to goon in Kylie, and then
Goons?
they look at the clock and they're like, oh, and they start to goons, and then they look at the clock and they're like, oh, we
Goon.
don't have time for this. And so the first drop that would normally be into the goons, they drop back into hot tea instead.
Yeah,
Yay.
it's
And
a
then,
mystery.
then they played a short salt, which they're going to do again in a few shows.
But I'm not hating on the salt. Can I just like make it clear that like that does not bother me? Like a
No,
salt encore is a wonderful thing, and they should
I'd rather
continue to do
that
it.
than playing Love Light again, which I mean, they're going to do that in the next show. But like,
Right.
Salt's
yeah,
a great fucking song, man.
it's
It is.
such a good song. God.
It's good.
Yeah, I just wish they had more 5-minute songs in their back pocket that they could play in this slot. That's all.
Fair.
Go listen to this Wisteria. Richmond Night 1, October 2nd at Allianz Amphitheater at Riverfront. Kind of a mouthful, not quite. First set, Everything Must Go, Meter Maid, Lead Up, All I Need into SOS, Chocolate Town, Cali Magic, Indian River, and Dawn.
A lot of fucking songs, man.
Lot of songs in this set. Really, just so many songs. I will say that, like, EMG, dip your toes in. Great opener. Meter Maid, still dipping your toes in. Nice transition to Lead Up. You're like, great. Early first set. We're good. All I Need. Let's fucking go. They start to go into something promising, and then they ripcord it into SOS. And it's like, okay, at least they'll jam this. No, they're going to split it again. And instead of using SOS as a launch pad into a song, which they do sometimes, instead of playing the rest of it, we get the debut of Ween's Chocolate Town, which I don't get it here. It doesn't land for me. I don't know if you guys feel
You Ween
differently,
guy,
but
Kev? Like we actually didn't have this conversation.
So I saw it 2018. I saw Ween at Red Rocks when they were sort of coming back again. So yeah, I like some of the songs. In terms of like Goose covering it, I'm not so sure. Like
It fits.
I'm not so sure where that falls, but whoever likes the song, whoever brought it in, is obviously a fan. So fucking A, man, let them play it.
Shout out to a friend of the pod, Dave, who is obsessed with Ween and loved this. Love that for you.
You know what's funny? I got a Ween story. Can I tell the Ween story?
Tell
'Cause
the
I feel
Ween
like
story. Now's as good a time
Okay.
as any.
Yeah. So years ago, many years ago, 30 years ago,
Really
almost
can't be
now.
sure.
Yeah, I really can't be sure.
Fuzzy.
I got a fish bootleg tape that I had made at my local head shop that was copied by the person who works there. The filler on the tape wasn't fish. It was like a show from 92, let's say, or 93. The filler on the tape was Ween, Spirit of 76. And I heard it and I was like, what the fuck is this? So it must have been 96. And that was the last time I listened to Ween really until like, I don't know, like many, many years later. And I've just never been a Ween guy. And so but I do acknowledge the fact that they're awesome and that people love them and people were losing their minds when they played it.
Well, and I would guess for Neal, the reason that he doesn't like them is because of the Pushing Daisies, whatever the fuck that song is.
Oh yeah, that song was like on MTV.
And
God, Jesus
especially like
Christ.
the time in Neal's life when that happened, he's like, nope, those guys are done. Never gonna listen
Yeah, they
to them
suck.
again.
Yeah.
Well,
That's the story.
I mean,
All right.
Neal, you and I saw them at Peach a couple of years ago. It was fun.
It's fun. But I'm
They
not
are
like
they
there were
are
people
fun and they have fun songs.
Yeah.
at Peach
Anyway.
who were losing their fucking minds for that
Yeah,
set.
we're like, eh.
though. Like that's like, but I wasn't. It's
Yeah.
on me. All right, go
Well,
ahead.
and
Let's talk about
then
movies.
the rest of this first set, you get the first ever jammed out California Magic. A
No.
precious few minutes of it that eventually segue nicely into Indian River.
You know what's funny about that California Magic Jam is it sounds just like Indian River the whole entire time.
Not the whole time. They get there. It's a
Yeah,
nice
all right.
segue. And then you get the Dawn, which does the Dawn thing. And it's fun. But yeah,
Give us more Dawn.
you got thoughts on this set? We talked about the Ween thing, but any other thoughts here?
No.
Specifically on bailing on All I Need when it got cool?
I have nothing to say about this set. I mean,
Yeah.
like
It's disappointed largely.
a jammed out California Magic I take issue with because it's blatantly a full stop on
It's
California
not.
Magic. Oh my god. I mean, generally, like I don't engage in these debates. I generally don't, but this one is it's ridiculous.
And by generally you mean always.
Well, I mean, obviously. I mean, it wouldn't be always almost there if Ryan and I weren't bickering. I mean, it's kind of
Amen
the
to
vibe.
that. Amen to that. All right, set 2. Animal, Redbird, Atlas Dogs, Dim Lights, Thinner Man with Turn On Your Love Light. Yeah, the lights are dim, but we'll turn it back on in the encore.
Oh, poetic.
Oh, so this is kind of a weird set. I like this set, maybe because I was there, but I do like Redbird through the end. Animal to open set 2 after the first set. It's kind of like, okay, here we go. So we eat a chunk of time with Animal. Redbird and Atlas Dogs both have some interesting moments in them, but again, it's a thing of they're not making use. They're not making use of the time as best that they probably could. I will say the Atlas Dogs kind of like dissonant chasing around each other jam that they get into there is pretty great. And Dim Lights, I've listened to this so many times, and we've gone on record on this podcast saying
Have
songs
you?
like Arise and Dim Lights should not be played electric because they are perfect acoustic songs. And boy, were we wrong, in my opinion.
The first time I listened to this, and I know you guys, at least Ryan, you were in the room, right?
The first time you
listened
listened to Dim Lights ever?
No, this specific version, sir.
I was in the room. I
You
haven't
didn't
been to
hear this?
Colorado since this happened.
No, you weren't in Richmond for this.
Oh, I was in Richmond. Sorry, yeah.
That's what I
I thought you meant the first time you heard it. I was in the room with you.
No. I was asking specifically about this version here. I got to listen to it a couple days after the fact, and obviously, like, it must have felt amazing in the room because it carried through that much more. Like at home, like, holy shit, like, I
I was
wasn't
sobbing.
prepared. Yeah, man. I was like drinking coffee on a Sunday morning, like, man, I'm just gonna relax a little bit, throw the song because I heard you all talking about it, and I wasn't able to stay up and watch it. And like the hairs were standing up, and I'm like, I'm drinking coffee and just trying to relax, and holy fuck, man, going through emotional stuff. Holy moly.
And though tomorrow
Yeah.
scares the life from me sometime.
No, don't. Oh
Uh,
God.
he did.
Um,
He did.
it's good. I mean, it's a great song. It might be their best song, and
Might
I
be.
have no shame in saying that.
We say
I
that
mean,
about a lot of their songs.
it
Well, you
evokes
know what,
emotion.
Kev?
Hey,
They have a lot of really great songs.
they get a lot of really great songs, but there are very few songs on this planet that make hair stand up on your arms, and this is like one of them. You know, I think of songs that have made the hair stand up on my arms over the years, and two stand out in my mind.
A lot of Pearl Jam songs.
None of those. Not even one. Um, really excellent Harry Hood jams and this song, and for entirely different reasons.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but both of them, it's just they do it to me, and that is the highlight of this set. My notes for the set are, and I think this is emblematic of this whole entire tour. But Animal, my notes are inoffensive, but lacks the punch we expect from a set
Nice.
opener. Yeah, because that is exactly what Animal is on this tour. It's inoffensive and unremarkable. And then the Redbird. Actually, there's one interesting part of this Redbird that I think happens where Rick does something where he's playing with a new pedal, and like I don't know
That
if
flange thing.
he's just like shooting fucking
They're
lasers,
like,
dude.
wow. Yeah.
And I think he was like, "Whoa!" And like it's just kind of like stops it immediately because he wasn't expecting it to happen. But it's a really cool part of the song, and you should listen to it to try to parse out like him kind of slightly freaking out when it happens because it is, I think, jarring to anybody who listens to it, but in a positive way, not in a bad way. That's it.
That's it, Kev.
Yeah.
Well, so wait, and Cinnamon. Yeah, I mean, I know Neil. You're like you don't like the Cinnamon. This is the ghost. This is the goat Cinnamon for me. Um, this is so they goons it right. You have this intro jam where similar to the Chicago Empress, they just start goonsing, and you're like, what the hell is this? Ring mod everywhere on this intro, and I
Yeah.
love it.
That part is cool. Yeah.
It's sick. And then right at the beginning of the jam, so then they go into Cinnamon, they play the song, people are excited, and then they like take it down and they do this kind of like very tense, kind of uneasy section before dropping into the full goons. And I think that's really cool. Yeah, I mean it's a great way to close out the set. And I think this set is better than we're giving it credit for, but also not that good. It's just it's better in the context of this tour where there's not a lot of really great full sets.
Mm.
And that's kind of where I'm at on it. Love Light Encore, they walked out. Rick was like, yeah, we were gonna do some other shit, but yeah, we don't have time. We're gonna do this
Right.
instead. And the other shit was Mr. Action. And Rick, you don't need to be that disappointed that you played Love Light instead of Mr. Action. You can play a 5-minute Mr. Action, and it would
Yeah,
be
you
great.
can.
Honestly,
You
they
just have
didn't
to
play
skip the guitar solo though.
They
That's
didn't
the
play
best part.
Mr. Action on this tour at
Not
all,
at all.
which is baffling.
Just release an album with it on it.
Yeah, but no, fuck you, Mr. Action. Sorry.
Fuck you playing the songs that we just recorded and released.
Yeah, fuck you,
Hey.
Madalena. Like, who
Yeah,
cares?
seriously.
Who wants to hear that anyway? I would much
Yeah.
rather hear Hot Love and Flow Down again.
Yeah. Factory
And
Fiction,
Yeti
fuck
and
you.
yeah, Factory Fiction, fuck you.
Stop stealing my fucking thunder, Ryan.
Sorry, Kev. I pulled up the set list and I started getting angry at this show again. And I'm angry about Richmond Night 2. It's been several weeks. It's been 3 weeks and I'm still angry about it.
And so that's a great segue into
It
October
is.
3rd, Goose Night 2 at the Allianz Amphitheater Riverfront in Richmond. We open up with a Prince cover.
Fuck this first set.
Jesus
Sorry.
Christ.
It's getting real here. It's getting
It
real.
is.
Isn't it in
We're
the
late.
show?
We're
I mean,
late in the
damn.
tour.
And so
It's a
and
Friday
so
night. It's night 2 in Richmond, and they do this.
man, I can't have you disrespecting Prince like this.
I have no problem with "I Would Die for You" opener. It's what happens
Yep.
after
It
Royal.
goes down from there. Yeah.
Come on, Ryan. Royal is the next song. Hot Love and the Lazy Poet. Oh man, I'm so sorry. Flow down into Yeti, and we get a pumped up kicks. Back in the Yeti. Wake up. Silver Rising, and we're going to close this set with Arcadia. And I really want Ryan to lead this one off.
Thanks, Kev. "I Would Die for You" opener. I was excited. This is an exciting opener. This is like, yeah, like we're in it. We're getting ready. Royal, great early first set. Hot Love, like okay, it's a first set.
3-pack of
down.
openers.
Right.
3-pack of openers.
Actually, it's a 5-pack here. Yeah, this is a 5-pack.
I wanted to leave the cover out of it.
Yeah, no, it's a 5-pack.
Yeah.
So we get "I Would Die for You," Royal, Hot Love, Flow Down, and then they start Yeti, and I'm just like, God, like okay, we're doing this. At least Yeti's gonna be fun. They goonce it a little, and then they go into kicks, and I'm like, man, like why?
Yeah.
So they have now played Pumped Up, and I mean, sorry, I'm not going to do this whole thing again. If you want to hear me rant about how much I don't want them to play Pumped Up Kicks, go check out the Richmond Night 2 day after show, because there's a lot of ranting about how I don't want them to play Pumped Up Kicks.
What are your top 2 takeaways in 20 seconds or less on that?
They're playing Pumped Up Kicks way too much, and they should stop playing Pumped Up Kicks.
That was way faster than I expected. Thank you, sir. Move on.
I can be succinct when I want to be. I just don't usually
when
want
he
to be.
wants to be.
And then Wake Up. I mean,
What
listen,
an asshole. He's doing this
this is
intentionally all the time.
I know. Oh, I am. This is a huge bust out. 256 shows. First time electric as well. Last played during. Oh, sorry. Is this first time played electric? It is first time played electric. Nope, just kidding. 2015 was probably not acoustic, but we will never know.
Yeah, because no one was there.
No,
except for the
Jimmy
bands.
at Jimmy's Seaside Tavern. But
Yeah.
this is the third time they've ever played Wake Up, the first time since the Radio City acoustic set on June 25th, 2022. So huge, again, 256 shows. That's hefty. And this is a great song. And one of the things that kind of got lost in my criticism of this song here is that this is a great song, and it would be great if they hadn't played these 6 songs before it first. And like all I want is like, some sort of improv, some sort of interesting thing. And I'm like, okay, here's another cover. And it's a good song. And Neal's going to get mad at me again. But, I could have done without it here. Silver Rising, also, just like in Charlotte, you can feel the second set and the encore getting, in a time crunch again. And then this Arcadia, like, brings it all back.
Yeah.
You get that extended Chank tease with Rick and Peter, lots of fun, and this is like 15 minutes or so they get a little bit of time to kind of like build around within Arcadia and do some cool stuff. Great Rhodes work from Peter here, and some synth as well, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, this is a great Arcadia. Some people who like to wear big hats texted me at set break and said that this was the best Arcadia ever, or maybe of the year, to which I told him he was wrong. But yeah, this is a very solid Arcadia and a good way to close the set. Yeah, what do you guys think of this first set here?
Oh man, you said a lot of words. I'm not going to add much. You did say a lot of words. So "Wake Up" is an incredible song, although it's a little tricky now because, I think Arcade Fire is like not cool anymore because dude is like kind of like not a cool guy anymore because he's done some terrible things. But they chose to play the song Electric, and I have always loved the song. I think it's an excellent album, worth checking out. And then Yeah, there's a lot of things you complain about the set, and there's like very few things to be excited about. This Arcadia is sick, and for two reasons. One, Peter plays a synth solo in this thing that absolutely turns the song on its head, and it doesn't sound like anything they've ever done in Arcadia before. So if you're looking for a unique Arcadia, this is the one. So if you are, a big hat guy, like you had mentioned, and you say this is sick, I don't necessarily disagree with you. Is it the best version ever? Not even close, but it's a cool version, and I'm excited about that. Um, and then, of course, they do Chang teases throughout where Rick is wearing his John Schofield hat. And as you know, I'm a much bigger Schofield fan than I am a Spoon fan. And man, do I like this shit. I mean, I eat this up. Like, I mean, he can do it every show, and I would
with a
love it.
spoon.
Yeah. Oh, that's clever. That's wicked clever. Yeah, dude. And so, I mean, not much to say about this set. I really love their approach to Arcadia. I love that they busted out Wake Up, um, even
Yes,
though
you
I don't
do.
like the term bust out for covers. Could have done without pretty much everything else.
You're so consistent, man.
Yeah,
You know,
I try to
set
be.
two. Are we on the set two?
Yeah, let us do.
Let us
Let's
into
talk
the
about.
second set with the opening second set with So Ready.
Yeah.
Yep.
And we get Born. Hunger Site with a Kenny Loggins kicker. Make the move.
Damn right. And
We're
it's
gonna
sick.
And we're going to close the second set out with Dripfield, and eventually we're going to encore with 726.
In the jungle, the
The
mighty
mighty
All right.
jungle,
The second
the
set is
lion
really
sleep
interesting because Hunger Sighting
tonight.
to Make the Move has some truly spectacular jamming that happens to fall within Make the Move. This is the GOAT Make the Move, by the way, in case anyone needed to be clarified on that. This
We
Hunger
need to
Site,
make we need to make a note when we get to talk with Rick again. Like, what was his entry point into Loggins?
we should ask him about Loggins.
Oh, Top Gun.
And
Probably Top Gun. He
and I
Top Gun
wanted
and was like, dude, Danger Zone is so sick.
Fuck yeah.
I want to know that for sure. That might be a sister thing too.
Yeah, maybe she's wicked at the Top Gun.
Wicked.
Yeah.
Wicked.
Wicked.
You're not French Canadian the way you say wicked, just for the record.
That's like a
Okay.
Connecticut thing.
Okay, Hunger Sighted to Make the Move. I will say this Hunger Site is another example of them trying to do something different with a song that was getting formulaic. And I have no doubt that Hunger Site will be formulaic again. But this goes slow build. And like there are several moments in this jam where, I mean, the first several minutes of the jam when they slow it way down and they just take their time with this build, it's wonderful. And I was like, hell yeah, like we're doing a thing here. And then, they eventually speed it up and get into the peak mode. And then from there, they detour into some more really cool jamming. But then Rick, unfortunately, does the thing that Rick does and just rip them back into the peak, which is kind of the heartbreaking moment of this. And then, and then they go into Loggins after it starts getting cool again, which was another heartbreaking moment. But then they jammed the shit out of Loggins. And let me tell you, the last few minutes of this Loggins jam are like
So good.
spectacular. Like,
Yeah.
wow. The quiet, like introspective. Sorry, I was passing it off to you there, Neal.
Oh, you were? Really?
Yeah.
That was a pass off?
Yeah.
I didn't have my video on because I was
just
looking at my own notes.
Got it. Okay. I
Oh,
stopped
okay.
talking.
Oh, because you were doing my jam chart. Is that what you were doing?
No,
Okay,
I
so
wasn't. I was
okay, because I wrote the jam chart for this. But in any case,
for the Make the Move.
yes, Hunger Site first. There's so like you have an unusual approach to Hunger Site. They have this like soft and contemplative thing that they have going on, and Trevor is the lead instrument. He is the one who is pushing the melody here, and that is great because I think throughout this tour, Trevor is maybe the strongest player in the band all the way through. So he's got these gorgeous melodies going. And then Rick asserts himself in there, which, of course he should because he's the lead guitar player. And then when he does, Trevor matches them. And then they are playing together. So like Rick will make a phrase, Trevor will kind of follow with the phrase and mostly play it. And that is, I think, kind of my favorite jamming that they do when they're following each other. And they do it actually again in the very next show, and to really great effect. So I think actually they're catching a groove here at the end, where if this tour were longer, like we'd get maybe several more really excellent shows. Um, so they're kind of doing this thing where they're matching each other and they're augmenting their ideas. And then you get again that slow build thing that they do that I was kind of saying earlier, where it's just like you start from like something really quiet and contemplative, and you get to something big and fiery, which of course every version of Hunger Site does. And then you find yourself in that fiery Hunger Site jam, and then it takes the most incredibly jarring turn, shocking turn into Make the Move. And it's just like, what the fuck? Like, how did we
Why?
get here?
Why?
Why did we get here?
Why?
But then, only a minute or so after they play Make the Move, you find out like what's happening. It's just an interruption, and Cotter and Rick immediately usher the band away from the song with incredible speed, both of them. So Cotter is being incredibly active, Rick is being incredibly active. So there's just notes and sounds, like things going on everywhere. Um, and so they do that for like a couple of minutes, and like you said, Ryan, it gets quiet and it gets contemplative and it gets very soft for a moment, and then again the wheels fall off the wagon and things just go absolutely haywire. So then Rick and actually, so this is what I was talking about. Rick and Trevor start chasing each other. Like Rick does like a, and then like Trevor does like a, and then like, so they're both doing this thing where they're just kind of like, like to me, it evokes like an image of like chasing each other through a maze where like it is terrifying, it is dissonant, it is weird, but they're in lockstep. And like, I don't know how you do that, make it feel so filled and still be so close to each other, but they're doing it and they're like following each other, chasing each other. And I think it's one of the coolest things on this tour is this little section of Make the Move. Truthfully, I think this is one of the coolest things they did on the tour.
I
Um,
agree.
and so yeah, so like there's this like, this terrifying labyrinth that they're chasing each other down, and then Cotter kind of has this like circular drum beat going, which he will do, and then all of a sudden again unresolved tension. And like this is actually one of the really bright points of this tour, where like you expect something and it's just like all built up, and then no
Nada.
release,
Nada.
drip field. Like that's
No release
Drip field is
crazy.
the release.
Like,
Hey,
but
'cause
that, I
it
mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I guess it is the release,
No,
but
but
like
the
there's
jam is like, because
yeah,
that just goes major key hose for 15
right.
minutes, and that's the end of the second set.
Yeah, but
But
you're
yeah,
stuck with this tension for several
100%,
minutes until you get
100%,
there. And like,
and it's
man, is
amazing.
that beautiful. That is so cool.
That's out of the
It's
comfort zone,
really great stuff.
especially after Rick did the thing where he bailed on a promising idea in the Hunger Site to just rip back into the peak. It's
Yeah.
amazing that we then, quote unquote, recovered and got back to
Yeah.
and
So
got
it's
got
not
back to it.
all bad,
Not all
like
bad.
this show is like hard to look at and say like
Kinda
it's
bad.
great. But there's this section here, which is, I mean, really, truly improvisational greatness, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And it starts with Make the Move. And hey, man, maybe that's like their kind of cruel joke to the rest of us, which is like everybody hates the logins. Like the Gems guys hate the logins. Like, Jive Goose is cringing somewhere.
Make the Move isn't Top Gun though. So like I'm like legitimately
Well, it's
curious.
Still
logins, though.
logins.
Yeah.
All
Sure.
logins is Top Gun, okay?
No, it's not. No, sir, it is
Logins.
not. I will challenge you on several levels there. It's not. Let's start a separate
That's why Kev
podcast
that's
here.
why Kev is here.
Yeah, no, that's not the case at all. But again, I'm like legitimately curious, like where did Rick fall in love with logins and Make the Move, and because that's not Top Gun.
No. Well, we should try to find out here. But then we get an encore of 726 finally coming back for the first time since Gonzo, and a fake out intro with the Lion Sleeps Tonight quotes, which was pretty great. But man, 726, so good. I love this I love this in the encore slots so much.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing I have to say about this is if they only play 726 twice in a year, like that sucks.
Also true.
Like, I mean, like they
For the
how many
record,
shows
for the
did they play?
record, 3 times this year they played it in Grand Rapids.
That's not enough.
Oh, right. Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
Still not enough,
I w
though. I agree.
yeah.
They should be playing it more.
I was thinking of the last time I had played it, which was
Gonzo. Yeah.
Cabo, but yeah.
You were
Yeah,
you were
man.
physically present for that one.
Yeah, maybe.
Physically, you were there.
Yeah, I might have been there.
Mentally, you were in the spiral at the back of the
Some
field.
people say.
Yeah.
Uh,
I had reached another plane,
yes.
as
Neal,
one does
should we
in
talk
Cabo.
about the best show of the tour now?
Is this the best show of the tour? I mean,
I
I don't
mean,
know if I agree with that, but
I think it kind of is.
We're
yeah,
running
yeah, no,
out.
it is.
We're running out of shows, y'all.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
I
we
mean,
only
this is it.
we have 1 and
Yeah.
an hour after that.
We have this and like an Instagram photo op to talk about. So,
There we go.
all right. So, October 4th, Goose at the Mann Center for the Performing Arts, Philadelphia. It is a celebration every time they play this place. And I mean that because they played there twice. And every time I've been there, it's been sick. And there's just amazing people, good friends. It seems to be a convergence of people that I love. So I have a lot of positive feelings about this show that might give me some bias about this one, but maybe not. We get a set one with a pretty standard pancakes opener. We get a Seekers on the Ridge, first time ever jammed out, which I'm going to get into when we talk about this. Of course, into part two. Then you get a Dustin Hoffman into a Rockdale, big modern, and then Give It Time. And so, before I talk specifically about music in this set, the one thing I do want to say about this set, is that this is how you do it. This is how you do it at a venue that is big and you want to play the hits, you want to play songs that are going to grab people, and you
well,
sneak in some jams.
yeah,
I think this is
but
how it's done.
it's not sneaky.
Real quick. What's capacity at Man Center?
14,000, I
Yeah,
believe.
something like that.
And
Big
it
lawn.
wasn't sold out, but it was close to. I will
Yeah.
say, Neal, it's not just about big venue. This is just how you do it. And this show demonstrates to me that they can do setlist construction if they want to, and
If
they just choose not to for a
No, I
lot of the
disagree.
tour.
I disagree. It's not a choice. I think they just don't know how to do it. And I
But
think
I
sometimes
sometimes
they hit home
they luck
runs and
out.
then sometimes they don't.
Okay.
I
I
mean,
mean, I'll
I
give
don't
you
know.
that. But yeah, I mean, I agree that this whole show on paper is just so well written. Like, and
Yeah.
there's such a good balance of the crowd pleasing songs and the things that people know with improv,
Right.
and that's so
So
important. Yes,
true. Can I take back
I
what I
just wanted
said?
to.
I
Sure.
said
Okay.
like they don't know
Sure.
how to do it. Like they absolutely know how to do it. They're their fucking songs and they're like brilliant guys and obviously they're really smart. I
Okay,
think
Neal.
from like a fan perspective where like there are songs that I like more than others. There are things that I want to see in particular sets. I think they have swung and missed several times and have not met the aesthetic that I'm going for. This set though, they do.
Yeah.
Is that fair? Okay.
Yes.
Great. So I want to talk about these and then I will hand off. I'm going to talk about one and then I'll hand off. So the Jammed Out Seekers to me is remarkable. Like it's not like a jam of the year thing, and that's okay. And like this is what I loved about February, where like they played songs that were like weren't necessarily jam of the year things, but they were so remarkable that you couldn't forget them.
Yeah.
That you talked about them for days and days or weeks or months after the show, and we're still talking about them. And they do it here, and that's what this Seekers is. And the jam here is straight Grateful Dead. It is Dark Star. It is sparse guitar soloing from Rick. There's space in between for Rick, or Trevor to do melodic bass playing. Peter has like a haunting piano groove. Everything about it screams like super psychedelic Grateful Dead to me, and I love that stuff and I eat it up. Is it like truly inventive jamming? Absolutely not. But it is, I don't know, transcendent. Can it take you somewhere else if you allow it to? Yes. And that is what I love about this jam. And I love the fact that they've never done this before. They can do this in any
Yeah.
song at all. They can play Butterflies and jam it out for 20 minutes. I think it would evoke a similar response from me. So do it.
Yeah, you've only been saying that for 3 years since they debuted Butterfly.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like,
I
I mean,
agree.
you can do it here, you can do it there,
I agree. This is still a bathroom song, but if they want to keep jamming it, then I can pee and then get back and then they jam it. Yeah, I mean, I 100% on board with you on that. They're like jamming things that didn't get jammed before.
Yeah. And
They
who
have
cares if it
since.
sounds like Drive? Yeah, but yeah.
Who cares if it sounds exactly like 46 days by the time they get to the peak? Like it doesn't matter.
I
They're
didn't hear that
jamming
at all.
seekers. It's a big
Yeah.
deal. I will say this Dustin, very,
Good.
very cool.
Yep.
And I think a little bit of a ripcord into Rockdale. We'll let it go in this show, but really, really great. Just kind of like, I want to say sonic exploration in this Dustin. They leave a lot of room going here. Like it's not super busy.
Yeah.
I want
As
to.
Dustin
There's a
does.
word
Yeah.
there's a word that starts with P that
Yeah.
I
No,
could
it's not
use here,
patience.
but it's not.
I think you
Oh,
can go for
you
the
said it,
U
not me.
word, which is
Penis.
understated. It is
Understated. That's
understated
a good one.
jamming.
That's a good one.
Because it is that nobody's
Penis.
really asserting themselves. They're just playing a nice mellow groove, and nobody's being loud or stepping to the front of the conversation. Right?
Yeah.
They're just letting the thing happen. And of course, you can use the word patience if you really must. But I mean, I think it's cool. I think Rick does this kind of finger picking thing, which I don't know. It's just like he's just not shredding. And then when Rick is not shredding, I think good things happen. That's not to say that when he shreds, bad things happen. But sometimes when he just plays fewer notes, magic happens because the dude just exudes melody, right? And like it happens here. And that Dustin Hoffman.
Yeah. And then we get Big Modern later on in the
Yeah.
set, and it does the Big Modern thing, and we're all having a great time with it.
It's a party. I mean, I have nothing good like exemplary to say about this thing, but it is a rager.
Both y'all were
Um,
at the show?
Yes, we
yeah,
were
we were
Yeah.
standing next to
throwing
each other for
down.
this one.
We were throwing
Throwing the
down.
fuck down. Yeah.
Neal
This
was
is a good one.
throwing the fuck down at this
Yeah.
show. Let me tell
For the
you.
big modern, oh boy, was I. And then the second set, don't even get me started. I
Well,
mean, I throw down at shows.
friend of the pod, Ethan did come over to check on you during Big Modern. Oh no, he texted me to check on
Yeah, no,
you
he checked
during
in on
Big
the second
Modern.
set.
Yeah,
Because
is
you
Neal
were
okay?
throwing
Because
the
this is
fuck
good.
down.
We were
Um,
throwing the fuck down.
well, like everybody always says, like, because I think people look at me and they're like, "Oh, that guy probably doesn't throw down. He's old."
Oh
I've
no.
always been
I've
a
never
guy who
looked at
throws
you that
down.
way. I've
No.
never
Yeah,
looked at you that way.
Anyone who was in your vicinity during the Gonzo fast slow
Yeah.
will never doubt the fact that you can throw down.
Years
yeah.
before that, I
I
was
mean,
like, that guy can throw the fuck down.
yeah. So like people talk about like Pollock. Like they say like Pollock throws down harder than everybody at show. My goal in life is to throw down harder than Pollock. Like that's
That's
my goal.
fair. Speaking of Pollock,
Yeah.
he did a poster for this show.
No kidding.
Okay.
You wouldn't say. What a segue.
Should we talk about set 2? Because
Yeah,
this set
we
2
should.
fucking rules.
This set too does fucking rule. First set also fucking rules, by the way, in
But this
case
set
like you didn't pick up on that.
rules more.
Okay, so you get an Into the Mist opener, which is edges on Goose and just general Goose fire jamming, and then you go into You Spin Me Round. Then you get a Madhavan that is dissonant and metal,
Headbangy.
straight metal, just metal, and then like just relentless. Like it was fine. They could have played Elmeg there, and everybody would have been happy. But no, they played Thatch. We were exhausted. We had barely caught our breath, and they go into Thatch, and then they play Elmeg at an accelerated tempo.
You know what's crazy?
That is,
Before
yeah,
we talk about this set, I'm looking at it now on allgoose.net as I do, and I realize it's been 3 weeks, and nobody has noticed until I noticed right now that I didn't put the footnote for Thatch to be unfinished. So that's there now.
good for you, man.
Just had to say that.
Okay, you want to talk about the music now, or
Yeah, talk about the music. I'm disappointed in you and the rest of the committee for not catching that.
oh,
And so
dude.
my question is, LMAG, and I'm not versed on the actual stats of this, but the fast version of it. This isn't the first time they've done this.
No, it's not. And some of us have talked about going back and to find those versions, and it hasn't been
Yeah,
done yet.
I listened to it, and it was notated, right, like first fast version or whatever, and I'm not like trying to piss on that whatsoever. But I remember like back in the day of like your 2019 that like somewhere I came across like listening to like a fast version of it and like listening to this and being like, I've heard that before.
Well, I think it's not even that long ago. I think the last like version at this tempo was in 2022. I want to say,
Like pre-Autumn Crossing.
yeah, could be
I have to
2023.
go
I don't
back
know.
and
I haven't
listen,
gone back.
but yes,
Yeah.
they've done this before.
Yeah,
Okay, should we talk about Neal? Why don't you lead us up? Talk about the mist,
Okay.
the big
So
boy.
this mist
Misty Mist.
is, I mean, it's a big deal. I mean, well, I think it's tough because I think a lot of people were at the show and like a lot of people saw this miss as like a really big deal. And I think actually after the fact, like where
Philly
this like lands,
three-peat.
yeah, it's not there, but
No,
it is remarkable. So it is a culmination of jamming styles, I think. So they stepped away from the Goons and dragged it a little bit more towards the just typical Goose jamming style. So you actually get something that feels super improvisational, which the Goons generally doesn't. And you just get a relentless assault of peaks and just, I don't know, just, I don't want to say dance party because I feel like that's overused, but like, there's an absolute throwdown. And man, did I dance so hard at the show. Like, I mean, I woke up the next day like sore, and it was because of this particular song.
yeah. I mean, again, this guy knows how to throw the fuck down. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like Goons adjacent. They keep that dance vibe going the whole time. Cotter just I mean, like I took a video of Cotter during the latter half of this jam that's just like he's just going absolutely insane. But yeah, I mean, I love how many different things they kind of do in this jam. Like you have that consistent thread of the dance beat throughout the whole thing, but you also get like kind of like they're kind of surging forward and then they back off a little bit. And there's a kind of a searching and they find a new vein, right? It's not just straight goons, which they very easily could have done out of this mist and it would have been super fun. But there was an intention behind it, I feel, that was like, again, something that wasn't there on a lot of this tour. And I really love, again, that, I talked about with the Michigan Modern, how, you largely lose Peter's clav in that textural role. And that comes back in this mist for a little while. But man, I every time I listen to this, I'm just like so excited about this jam. It's not ranking higher than like middle of the pack for me. And by middle of the pack, I mean I have it at 16 right now. But this is
The
a
Mist. This
fantastic jam.
opening Mist.
This mist, I have it at 16 on my list right now.
Holy
Which is,
shit.
yeah, that's not middle of the pack. I mean, listen, like I appreciate the Philly faithful. I've seen a lot of people online be like, okay, maybe we're not going to go for the three-peat as sick as this mist is. And I appreciate the realism. But let me tell you, this placement for You Spin Me Round, this is where I want to see this song. We've seen it in the encore. We've seen it close the second set several times now. And coming out of the mist, like they started going into it, and I was immediately like, fuck yeah. And they do something a little different here. You get a little bit of kind of upbeat major key jamming out of this, which is fantastic. But
And you want that little bit of dance party like coming out and continuing from
yeah,
this.
I was gonna say everything on the mist was a dance party, but yes. Do you have anything to add on the mist You Spin Me here before I move on to the Madhavan?
No, man, you can roll on. For me, like there I really appreciate like the rededication, and I'm gonna say that like of Goose to Mist, because for a long time we were asking, hey man, like they're not playing it, they don't play it enough, they don't do the jam on it, and it was really cool and it has been really cool to have them like doing all these fucking awesome versions again.
I agree.
Welcome back, Neal.
So this Madhavan,
Oh.
as you mentioned earlier, Neal, this is like straight metal. Like my neck hurt after this jam because I was like head banging.
They call
so
it the
much.
bangover. if you're a metal guy,
Okay,
they
so I
call it
had
the
a bang over.
bangover.
I had a bang over during Thatch.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. This Madhavan rules. You get the kind of like dissonant free jazz thing for a minute there, and then they just kind of come together, and you just get two guitar Goose just like unleashing on the crowd. And unlike an Alpharetta, everybody was locked the fuck in on this jam. And that's the Philly crowd. There's so many people at this show, and Neal, you and I had a couple of moments at the main where we were just kind of like looking around and being like, there's so many fucking people here. Like, oh my God.
Yeah. Well, and give it time, of course, at the end of the first set.
Yes.
Like I was like the crowd engagement there was crazy. But
Yeah.
Go back to
again,
the
in
go back
Madhavan,
to
yeah.
go back to the Wilkes-Barre shows, man. Did I say that correctly? That town?
Wilkes-Barre, yeah.
Yeah.
10-25-19.
Fucking Pennsylvania
Jive
loves
Goose's favorite, All I Need.
Pennsylvania loves fucking Goose, man.
Hmm.
Shovania, am I right?
Yeah, oh my
No.
goodness. Yeah. I'm
Um,
actually gonna support that.
are
We're
the
3
Sprout
hours in
shows?
here. This is what I'm
Is that what
doing.
we're talking about? The Sprout shows
No.
were sick. Are those in Pennsylvania?
10-25-19. River Street Jazz Cafe, Plains,
Oh,
Pennsylvania.
Jazz Cafe. Yeah.
Is
Right.
that not Wilkes-Barre? Is that not the Wilkes-Barre show?
I mean, damned if I know. I just know it as Jazz Cafe. All I need. I don't know. Remember the date, dude. I don't.
Okay, 10-25-19, bro. You're
You
supposed
got
to
it
know
Great
right.
that.
man shit.
You're
Dude.
right.
Anyway,
You are right.
this Madhavan rules. And yeah, Thatch Elmeg. Again, this is the first Elmeg I've been excited about since 3/12/23. Nope, just kidding. No, since Fiddlers.
Yeah, man. I will say this. I love the stacking of songs here. So you have Madhavan, which is dark and dissonant, but still there's some melodic beauty there, and then of course the straight metal, and then the Thatch is again relentless. Like you just have like no break, and then you get the Elmeg, and the Elmeg is the cooldown for your set. And we talked about this a bunch on the day after show. We didn't talk about it today, but the idea of having the kind of slower song being your cooldown to end the set, and then you have a rager for the encore. I love that, and I don't know if like Elmeg is that. And I don't know. I just like this version too. It's like proggy. It's not slow necessarily, but kind of is a cooldown. I don't know. Everything about it is just great. It's so good. And Cotter is absurd again in this one.
Yeah.
Like his playing is not
Guy can
dissimilar
play
to how
drums.
amazing it was in Into the Mist.
Yep. And then Salt Encore, because we were coming in at curfew once again, unfortunately. That's the only thing I'd change about this show. Not that Salt isn't amazing, just that it's the third Salt Encore of the tour, and I wish we had a little more time. But absolutely sick show. That's the end of the tour, right? But then they, as you
Yes.
said, Kev, they went for a photo op in Vegas.
Oh, I said that.
You said that.
Neal said that? Oh, I thought Kev said that. No,
How
Neal,
dare
as you
you?
so eloquently said, they went for a photo op in Vegas on October 5th at the Rise Festival in Jean, Nevada, just outside of Vegas. Apparently, it was really dusty. We had a few friends of the pod on the ground there. Garrett, Matt, Jess, Brad, Andy, several other folk who went down there. But we got 60 minutes, Silver Rising, Hunger Sight, Creatures, Slow Ready, Dripfield. About what you would expect for a lantern festival with some, floating things in the sky with the moon and whatnot. I will say that it looked really sick during like the Goons in Creatures with like the giant screen and the light rig they had going there. This looked awesome. And that's what I have to say about this set. The segue from Hunger Sight into Creatures. Sick.
The segues abound actually in this show because the interlude for Slow Ready is amazing. They play like this little kind of, I don't know, understated interlude that finds its way into Slow Ready, and I think it's awesome. I mean, I love these like little things that they've been doing this whole entire year. They started it, I think, pretty heavily in Cabo, and they just keep doing it. And this one was pretty sick. And of course, you get the Goonsy Creatures because of course, why not? They had to do this year.
Why not?
Yeah. So, and then a 10-minute drip. Don't play Don't play it. Just play something else.
When you,
If
I
you
mean,
if you
you're in
have
a
a
60-minute
10-minute drip,
festival
you
set
should go
already.
see your. If you have a 10-minute drip, you should go see your doctor.
Yeah, exactly.
Thanks, Kev. Really, really appreciate that one. And that brings us to the close of this tour. Remaining for the year, we've got Halloween coming up shortly,
Yes.
November 2nd. They've got 2 sets there, very high potential for what could happen. And then
Stop
Goosemas,
projecting, man. Let Goose be Goose.
Hey, Kev, projecting and wanting jams is what I do on this podcast, okay? That's what I do.
It's literally
and then,
all he does.
And then we got Goosemas, which the 3 of us are going to have a grand old time at Goosemas out in Providence. Speaking of Goosemas, before we open up the sack here, Night Zero tickets, they're on sale. They're going to go fast. Come out. Feet Music Hall, December 11th. Presented by WTED Radio, Nugs, and the Femflock. The Night Zero Band, including
What's
myself.
capacity at that place?
800, I believe. It's going to be wonderful. I'm playing with the Night Zero Band again this year. We've got Disco after us. There'll be some comedy as well. It's going to be a fantastic time. You should definitely come
it's
out.
all
Neal will be front row yelling "Gild the Lily" at me again this year.
Well, real quick, it's to benefit Conscious Alliance, right?
Yes, thank you,
that's
Kev.
the important part.
All proceeds
that is the
go to
important
Conscious Alliance. Yes, thank you for reminding me to mention that very important point. Tickets are $25. They're on sale now. Feetmusichall.com or feetmusic.com.
Yeah, no, man, it's not feet. It is fête, which is the French word for party.
Why in Rhode Island are they pronouncing things French?
Because the French word for party is fête, F-E-T-E.
No, I'm aware. I am from Canada, where we speak French.
Is that true? Then why are you saying feet? What the fuck, man?
You're in Ontario.
I assume that in Rhode Island, they're not pronouncing.
They mispronounce French words?
French, yeah, basically.
There are French people in Rhode Island. I assure you, they exist.
Anyway, come to Night Zero. It's going to be awesome. All right, it is time for us.
No, before we move on, I have a thing to say about Night Zero. Like Kev said, you should go to Night Zero, not because of the music, but because you want to donate money to charity. It is a time of year where people are struggling and they need food on their table. Conscious Alliance makes sure that happens. So don't go for the music. Go to donate money and be a positive force on this planet.
And even if you can't
enjoy the music while you're there.
Yeah, the music is awesome.
So that's a secondary thing.
And even if you can't go, donate to Conscious Alliance or your local food pantry, please.
Exactly right. And then a tertiary thing, if you want to see me in rare form, that is where you'll find me. I have a reputation 3 years running of being in incredibly rare form at Goosemas Night Zero. So check that one out. It's going to be super fun.
Watch out for Neal.
High fives. And if you want to see me shouting "Gild the fucking Lily" at Ryan while he's playing with the Night Zero band, just come stand right next to me in the front row because I'm guaranteed to be doing that.
Man, I was gonna sleep the first night, but I might come out now.
Just Gild the fucking Lily, dude. Hey, listen, Murawski will play it. Murawski's a Billy Strings guy. But all right, shall we talk about the mail sack?
Yes. So we, of course, are going to open up the sack. We appreciate everybody who contributed, as per usual. Well, I'll go first here. I'm grabbing one from Facebook here from Adam Hester in El Goose. Thank you for your sack contribution. Felt like they didn't break "quote unquote" new ground the way that February and June felt, but more or less maintained ground. I could stand to get away from the ounce less electronica and more authentic music, but I'm sure it's fun to experiment. Adam, appreciate your message. Of course, one of the main takeaways, I think, from this tour and this podcast that we've talked about is that, there was a lot less risk-taking on this tour, and it was few and far between. I do disagree with your disdain for the Goons. I don't think that it's at the point where it's become a crutch for them or something that they just like fall back on when they're out of ideas. I think because of the nature of the way that it needs to develop, they have to commit to it early or not do it. You know, it's not something they can be like in the middle of a jam and be like, we're out of ideas. Let's goons. And so I think there is a point where it could become that, but I don't think we're there yet. But yeah, I do hope that Goosemas gives us a glimpse into what happens. And then, 2026, hopefully there's some stuff in the first half of the year because we know that's when Goose is at their best.
Track
We'll
record.
see.
Historically.
We will see.
Historically. Who's up?
Man, the funny thing is, most of the questions are centered around, well, February was sick. What about the rest of the year? So shout out to like a lot of people who asked those questions. But okay, so we have Andrew who asks, top 3 jams of fall tour, in his opinion, are Columbus Wisteria and Jive Lee and Alpharetta Montalban. I don't disagree. Uh, what do we think has happened to One In One Out and Torero specifically? And so my answer to that question is, man, I don't know. And I think they have kind of painted themselves into a corner with a very narrow set of songs that they think people want to hear. And they just didn't feel the need to play those songs. We saw written set lists. And if I'm not mistaken, actually, One In One Out might have showed up on one, but Torero certainly didn't show up on any. And I could be wrong on the One In One Out thing. But they have not played it, period. And I don't know why. And that is, to me, really confusing because those are excellent songs. They should absolutely be playing them and they shouldn't be afraid of being who they are. And,
Neal, can
I
I
didn't
ask?
say it.
Can I
Well, hold
ask?
on, hold on. I got a thing like before you ask the question, because I have a thought that I kind of want to get out there. And I didn't say it yet on the pod, but I really do believe that they are trying really hard to be what they want what they want people to want them to be, rather than just being themselves. And they should just be themselves and play the songs that they've got.
Mhm.
And whether people like it or not, fuck them. They're
People
filling
love Torero.
they're filling sheds. It doesn't matter. You don't have to earn more fans. Like,
Neal,
sure, you could sell out Giant Stadium, but that's probably not going to happen. Just be yourselves.
Neal.
And that's a thing that I am growing increasingly frustrated with. Sorry, Kev, go ahead.
Well, I actually want you to continue talking, but the question that I have for you is like, how much do you think like I lost my train of thought. That's bad.
Damn it. Sorry, Kev. Sorry that I delayed you there. I just I really wanted to get this thing out where like I just I I look at the set that they played at the Kohl Center. I look at the set that they played at the Gorge. I look at the set that they played um, at Iowa, and it looks like they're playing for, I don't know who they're playing for. They're not playing for the fans. They're playing for people who they think are going to be fans.
Yes,
I
hundred
mean, and they
percent,
are making lots of fans.
100%
Sure,
as
That's the
well.
thing.
Yep.
but like, I mean, how many more fans do they need? I mean, I just don't get it. Like,
They
why
sold at MSG.
sacrifice?
Right.
Why sacrifice the thing that got you there to earn more fans? Because then what's that going to do? Right? Like, so you've got all these fans, so they're expecting, let's say you earn a couple
Jam.
thousand fans. And then like all of a sudden you start playing the jams again, which is what made you famous in the first place. And then there's a couple thousand people scratching their heads at your show, like, what the fuck? Like, this is not what we expected. So I mean, I don't understand the motivation for doing it. I really don't. And like, I do acknowledge that like they are artists. Rick is an artist. He is a songwriter, and he writes amazing songs, and he wants people to appreciate those. But also, there is this improvisational aspect that has made them what they are at this point, and the fans demand it.
So kind of at this point, it seems like there's a little. It seems like there's a little bit of conflict of who they want to be.
A little bit.
Right.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to see that kind of come to a head, I would say, early next year. You know, I think, and we're gonna see what next year's touring schedule looks like. Uh, which is the thing here. Kev, you got a sack?
I don't have a sack, but I would like to continue the speculation in what sort of venues does that look like in terms of
It
if we're continu
depends. It
Yeah,
depends where and when they're playing, right? Because Milwaukee didn't sell out last year. Only one night of Grand Rapids sold out last year. So, like, theoretically, they could do another tiny venue Midwest run in the middle of February. And I mean, if it all sells out, then great. But I mean, I think they do a similar venue circuit to this year because there were very few sellouts. They filled what they needed to, but there aren't any venues this year, I think, that they've quote unquote outgrown. You know, like even because out west, they're not filling more than a few thousand people, right? You know, Colorado, Fiddlers still has a ton of room for them to grow into. Um, and like in the Midwest, it's weirdly inconsistent, right? Like February, obviously on a Thursday, Grand Rapids was not full. And Friday was pretty full. Saturday was sold out. Milwaukee, 3 nights, you know, I think that venue's like 4 or 5,000, not sold out any of the 3 nights, right? Toronto, they sold out 2,500 both nights. But like they're at a weird place, right? And I think after MSG, I'm curious to see if they go around to a lot of these same venues again, what the attendance difference looks like, and when do they start hitting those sellout numbers? And Neal, as you said, do they keep leaning into the way that they've been going, or do they figure out that they can be more true to themselves? Which I really hope they do that because, like, yes, I want them to be jamming more. Yes, I want them to be pushing those boundaries more. But it's also because, similar to you, I believe that that is what makes Goose so great, and why I fell in love with this band is not just the incredible songs, but also the compelling improv and the like. They can go further, and the things that we've seen over the past few years, and it's like we know what they're capable of, and so I would love to see more things like a 8-night run in the Midwest in February where they are comfortable. People are coming up to see them who want that, and they're just going out there and laying it all out every night.
Yeah, I agree, but I think you misspoke. I think you meant to say Northeast, but otherwise, yeah,
no,
I'm
no,
100% with you.
no, yeah, no. I
No,
think he spoke. I think he spoke just fine.
they're playing the
Well,
Midwest or they're playing the Northeast in the winter, Neil. They're playing Goosemas in
yeah,
New
2 shows.
England in
Yeah, we need
December.
8-night run. 8-night
Listen,
run.
give me 4 or 5 nights anywhere. We had no 3-night runs after February. Give me any 3-night run anywhere. I'll go to it.
Actually, like I don't want to extend this conversation because I think it's like getting like a little bit belabored at this point. But like, look at Fish Fall '97 tour, and their stops are like hour away, hour and a half away, 2 hours away, hour and a half away, 2 hours away. I don't give a fuck where they do it. I want them to do that. I want them to play a tour that is like it doesn't even have to be 2-night runs. It is just like a very short tour for people
Yeah,
to drive to. And so like you're talking about the Midwest where like they can only do like 2,500, 3,000 seats. Like do something where it actually extends from the Northeast and they carry the people with them the whole entire way,
right.
maybe out to Ohio, maybe as far as Michigan. Do that. Just see what happens because I mean Fall '97, part of the reason Fall '97 was
That,
great
that
is
that's how
because
Goose started out, man. That's how they started
Well,
out.
but
I mean
everybody does that when you're playing bars, right? You play in every single city. I think where they're at
right,
now, the issue with this fall tour is that the routing was so erratic that it was like
exactly my
Burlington,
point.
Michigan, Michigan,
Right.
Chicago,
No, their touring has
Louisville, Atlanta,
never
Charlotte, Columbus,
their
Richmond,
touring has
Philly.
their touring has never allowed for people to follow them in the way that Fish say '97 allowed for people to follow them.
Some
I
people
mean,
follow them
there
anyway.
yeah, well, I mean, very few people are willing to do what you do.
It's true.
Um, and a lot of people would be willing to drive 1 hour or 2 hours to each stop, or maybe 3 or 4,
Even four.
but like not flying from stop to stop. So, I mean, like, that's what I would like for them to do. I would love for them to do it just once. And like, I'm sure you're sacrificing something in terms of overall growth, but you earn it back in actually building a following and having people go with you on tour.
There we go. And we love Goose. Make no
We
mistake.
do.
We criticize them because we love them. We would like to thank
True.
everybody immensely for bearing with us and listening to this amazing episode. If you're still listening to this, we love you very, very much. Thank you for listening to our fall tour recap. We hope to see you out there at Goosemas. It's going to be an amazing time. Safe travels and enjoy to everybody going to Halloween. We would like to put everybody on notice as well. We're going to drop a little hint here. Seating for Jam of the Year 2025 will be due December 28th at 11:59 p.m. We are dropping the hint on the pod here. Ooh. But start putting those lists together if you want to help seed the bracket. It's going to be a good one this year. But
Get involved.
Get involved. Thank you, Kev.
Yeah, or don't. It's fine if you don't. You don't
Well,
have
it's fine.
to
I
make
mean,
a bracket.
I didn't say
But, like,
anybody
please
had
do.
to.
You
But
can
we
also
would love.
watch.
Yeah, you can spectate if you want. If you want to vibe out during the bracket, you can. But yeah, bracket season is fast approaching, and there's only 3 shows left for Goose this year. So, of course, now is a great time to work on that list. If you haven't, Neal, get your shit together. Everybody, thank you so much for listening to this very lengthy episode of Always Almost There. We love you a lot. Have a great rest of your day, whatever you may be doing, whenever you may be listening to this. We will see you out there very, very soon. Peace.